Pierre, expand the salon. We're coming.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, April 6, 2023. This is your award-winning Gitmo Nation Media Assassination episode 1544.
This is No Agenda.
Affirming the affected and broadcasting live from the heart of the Texas Hill Country here in FEMA Region number 6 in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where I'm wondering why anyone would want my zip code to see if I qualify. I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Do you qualify, though? That's the question. Do you qualify? Do you qualify?
I don't know.
What was the qualification for?
Anything. They want my zip code. You haven't gone full over the air yet. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Well, no, I have not. However, as of today, I am full on fiber.
Oh, you're on it now?
Yes. In fact, I was even able to up the quality of our connection on Clean Feed.
Really?
Yes. 5 gigabits per second.
Really?
Yes. 5 gigabits per second. Up and down. I am so jacked about this. I've been waiting. All my life I've wanted.
Sounds the same.
Well,
as your little wireless.
Shut up. Well, of course, it's not just it's the latency. What's so great, which is I have like a 5 millisecond ping or something. It's incredibly fast. And that's what enables me to up the quality. You sound better. Believe me, it's subtle, but you sound better because I can put Clean Feed instead of speech enhance or optimize.
That's because I'm older.
Okay, there's that. But there's one other thing I noticed, and I always have to remind myself when this happens. I from the days when I went from a 56. No, actually, yeah, I think when it was we went from 44. What was the 56K modem, right? That's what we had? Was that the highest you could have, a 56K modem?
I don't know if you could
Dial-up?
get to 56K on a modem. I thought it was 19.2 or what something like that. It was about the fastest.
Well, I remember going to 56K frame relay, which was remarkably better than any dial-up because, of course, it was all this error correction and stuff that really got you to that 56K throughput. And from there, I went to ISDN, which arguably gave you 128 kilobits. And then I remember at the office, the big T1 line, 1 gigabit per second. Woo! The whole office was on it. Remember those days?
I don't think it was that fast.
The T1 line? Well, it was,
T1 line was not 1 gigabit per second.
That's the max that a T1.
I'm not sure of that.
T1 is really the card. It's not even the line. It's the card can handle 1 megabit per second. Not gigabit, megabit, John. Not gigabit, megabit.
Oh, you said gigabit.
No, I meant to say, if I did, I apologize. 1 megabit per second.
Yeah.
And the whole office would be on it. Then we had Pointcast. Remember Pointcast? And everyone's Pointcast would update at the same time?
Yeah. More memorable was the guy was offered a buyout for like $100 million or something, and
They didn't take it?
No,
of course. The road is littered with these people.
The whole operation. Live Journal, I think, had the same thing.
So yes, go ahead.
I was I caught a PG or a Pacific Telephone guy at opened up one of those big boxes on the street, and he's looking at it and he's wiring something up. I said, and I asked him about a T1 line. He says, "Oh yeah, the T1 lines. Those are." And he shows all these wires that go from point to point all over this mess of wires. And he says, we always, and he's got a thicker wire for the T1 line.
Oh, really?
He says, we always use this thick wire for the T1 line.
Oh, that's funny.
He's the same guy who told me about the squirrels.
Yes. The squirrel thing is real.
Well, yeah, the story he told me, which is another one of my many stories, he says the squirrels, that one of the things, they're a pain in the ass because they eat through the wire. They like the rubber outer coating. Mm-hmm. So they went through the process of developing this plastic coating that was just laced with capsicum, the hot chili pepper stuff.
Oh, they must love that.
He says it worked for about a month until they got a taste for it.
That's like the stuff we spray for the deers. The deer don't eat our trees, and they're like, well, you know what? I do kind of like this peppery stuff.
It's pretty good.
Anyway, what I always remind myself is that even with the subtle upgrades, and of course, my like the network card or the Wi-Fi card in the B-Link that I have, it's 300 megabits. So I had to plug it in to see 5 gigabits per second. But even at a consistent 300 up and down with that very short ping time, you get more done. It's seconds per time you hit a web page sometimes. So you're winning minutes an hour. You get more done. I always forget about that. It's like, oh, wow.
I can tell you're jacked up about this. I am
jacked up about it. I am.
Wait until a lightning bolt hits the pole.
I still have a backup. But I'm cutting the cord. Spectrum is out of here at the end of this month. Spectrum's out. It's over expensive crap with stuff I don't watch. And OTA is in. I'm excited.
Yeah, well, you'll find out about getting your zip code.
Oh, right. So I have to start off with something because some new stuff has come to light, and I think it's pretty important for a lot of what we'll be discussing in the future. And it really starts with a mea culpa on my part. I was wrong about Dylan Mulvaney. Well, partially wrong, but in general, I can be seen as wrong about this Bud Light and Dylan Mulvaney so-called promotion.
Well, let me back up. You were wrong but it was you were wrong because you took it from a theoretical basis, which I think is something we do on the show a lot, and I think is valid. And the theoretical basis was the following, just to remind everybody.
Okay.
You had worked for these people, and you knew how they thought, and you could not see in a million years how they would go along with something so stupid as this.
Well, even worse. Let me step back just a little bit more, because I even tweeted that this can that was being shown on social media with Dylan Mulvaney's face on it, I said that has to be AI, because to take it one step further than what we discussed on the show, okay. In 1996, I had just started my own company. I'd left MTV, and I got a call from Bob McCauley from Anheuser-Busch in St. Louis. He says, hello. I saw what you did with the Grammy Awards. We had done, so we called it the first cybercast of the Grammy Awards, which was basically See You, See Me camera, 1 frame a second. And Casio sponsored it with their brand new digital camera, which you had to, take the card out and put into your laptop. And it was all slow, but it was new. I said, I saw what you do. I'd like to talk to you about a website. So I said, hold on a second. Let me get the sales department. Put on a different hat. Hello, sales department here. And Bob said, I'd like you to come to St. Louis. I want to talk about a website for Anheuser-Busch, for Budweiser. So we go, and they wanted we wound up building Budweiser.com, Budlight.com, and it was a great company because they had all this content, from the Clydesdales to the sports that they sponsored. They had a lot of content. And we also learned a lot about beer. Because they were certainly still bottling at the plant in St. Louis. In fact, we created the Born On date. That came out of the website we built for them, as we learned that by looking at the barcode on a bottle or a can, you could determine down to the quarter hour when your beer came off the line. And so we said, why don't we make a little thing on the website? We didn't have QR code scanners and phones, of course, at the time. But if you fill in that number underneath the barcode, then you will get your beer's Born On date. And it became very successful. But there were, the legacy of Anheuser-Busch, August Busch III, nicknamed Grinder, and then he was going to be succeeded by August Busch IV, nicknamed Woody, who I always had my doubts about, because when we met him, he was in his office looking at, Porsche catalog, picking out his car. So I'm like, okay, I don't know what you're going to be doing with the legacy of this company. But Grinder, the third, was very clear, because we wanted to have this Born On date on the can. We wanted to have the domain name on the can and on the bottles. It was like, there's nothing ever going to come on. No, you're going to put nothing no internet on our beer bottles and cans, son. Never, not going to happen. That's an accurate depiction of how he said that. And after about a year and a half, we finally got them to use it in some of their commercials and their marketing. And some other companies, probably Coke or Pepsi, started putting it on cans. So they eventually said, okay, we'll put it on the cans. But it was sacred. The Anheuser-Busch logo, the Budweiser, all of this was sacred, sacred, sacred. So for them to even make as a joke a one-off can with anyone, I don't care if it's Dylan Mulvaney or an elephant or anything. Spuds McKenzie wasn't on the can either, the stupid dog. To not only be on the can, but overlapping the name Bud Light, that was unconscionable to me. Now,
how many years ago was this?
26 years ago.
Times change.
Well, clearly. Now, here's the part that I was kind of correct on. So this was dubbed on Twitter, certainly social media, as Dylan Mulvaney is the brand ambassador. Well, no, absolutely not, because besides that, there was no brand ambassador announcement. There was nothing on their website, nothing at all about this on social media. If you look at the hashtags, this is an influencer campaign. In fact, a contest that thousands of influencers participated in, posting the same text about a $15,000 prize with the hashtags, then hashtag Bud Light partner. And Dylan Mulvaney is nothing more or less than an influencer who participates in this campaign. Now, again, for any brand manager to send, even as a commemorative, hey, congratulations on your 365 days as being a girl, for them to send that is already just unbelievable. But okay, times change. So Dylan Mulvaney is not a brand ambassador, but the damage, I feel, had already been done. You see, when you see Kid Rock machine gunning cases of Bud Light, I'd say there's a little bit of brand damage there. And I think there may be more than they realize. But I also understand now with the latest that came out yesterday, and again, it's Nike hires Dylan Mulvaney as brand ambassador. No, again, it's an influencer campaign, and I understand now what's happening. I don't think Dylan Mulvaney's smart, but CAA represents Dylan Mulvaney. Someone is very, very smart, and is saying, you're participating in all of these influencer campaigns, which of course they do get paid for, because they can't imagine if they said, oh, no, you can't be one of our influencers. That would be the real brand suicide for any of these companies. And some, I think, was it Goop or Kate Spade? She's dead, but Kate Spade's company, they actually may have hired her as a brand ambassador. It doesn't matter. So this is going on, and it's really crazy to me. I mean, to me, it feels like this cannot be good for a brand like Bud Light. It just doesn't, and it's rude in general. Certainly, the Nike campaign, where it's sports bras. Are you kidding me? So, what this brought me to is what is really going on here, and it's a lot deeper. In fact, this is just the distraction. And two things came this morning. And the first one is, I'm very happy I received this. I'm also sad about it, but I'm happy I received this email. Now, No Agenda has people across the board. They deliver our boots on the ground reports. We've got people in military, law enforcement, in education, you name it, people in big brands, people in the medical field. Everyone's an expert in one thing, and they will always tell us, and we always share it on the show. So we also have gay and lesbian, and yes, we have trans people. And then we've always read emails from the official tranny of No Agenda, Allie Jade. And I received an email this morning that Allie, formerly known as Allie Jade, wants me to share with everybody, and then it leads into what's really happening here. And this is Allie Jade announcing the official transgender tranny of No Agenda retirement. I'm reading verbatim. I'm sending this as my resignation as official tranny of No Agenda. After almost 11 years or so, it's time to move on. I am by no way stopping listening to the best podcast in the universe, but I can no longer provide any insight to the show for this crazy transgender-filled world. A population that can't and shouldn't be more than a small speck of a percentage somehow balloons to a larger speck of a percentage now is in the news cycle to the point of ad nauseum. I had hoped as the time passed there would be a cure to rid myself of mental issues that had me seek care and then transition. But alas, it is now seen as normal and doesn't need to be fixed. It needs to be amped up, and then the drugs come, and changes apparently should happen sooner and sooner. I do not wish any ill will on the poor souls going through this. When they get older, they will have enough to worry about and endure. You two are the only ones saying it, and it's the hard truth. I am a medical cash cow. I have to get meds until death, and there's a high probability that hormone treatments led to my multiple sclerosis, a study out of Boston, I believe. So thousands of dollars in MRI treatments and doctor's appointments follow. Then throw in the eventual medical issues that will come with age for being on hormone treatment to my male anatomy. How about not being able to control your bladder much anymore and always worrying about accidents? No, I am not a woman. I play the part of a woman in the world I respect and do not go into areas where changing is done. I do my best to adapt and blend in as not even appear as male or transgender. I know I'm a product of inherent sin and the distance from the perfection lost in the Garden of Eden. I do not blame God for this. I ask for his forgiveness and help dealing with this every day, as I know I cannot go this alone. Keep deconstructing this and keep being honest. You are on the right path. You and John have never said anything that shouldn't have been said, and I take no ill will from those statements. This has kind of turned into a confession, as I have no one else to say this to. I'm not strong enough to come out as an advocate to warn people of the dangers ahead, but I hope that you two can be that. Take it from an older person. There's a lot they don't tell these kids, and and I've had to deal with from 24 until death. Sadly, they will have to deal with from a very early age until death, and it's not going to be easy road. Good luck and Godspeed to those who do. This kind of blew me away, John.
She has MS?
Yes.
Oh.
And bladder control issues and all kinds of stuff going on.
MS is
this is horrible.
Horrible.
So I come across, there's a couple of things going on. There's a podcast I listen to, the Afflicted podcast, and there's also a documentary now just coming out. And and someone sent me this video, which I think may be part of the documentary. It doesn't really matter. Jennifer Bielek, she's an investigative reporter. And I have a couple clips from a longer YouTube video, which it's in the show notes. Everyone should watch. And this really shows that Dylan Mulvaney is just the distraction and the normalization of something much, much, much bigger. And it is, in fact, transhumanism.
It's technology. It's the advancement of technology to improve, our lives. But we never get a say in any of that. We don't get to say, we don't get to decide, we don't get all the information. This is all elites deciding this for us, right? And it's, it rides the bullet train of the market. Everybody is profiteering off of this now, even if they have no idea what it's about. Transgender modeling agencies, gender fluid makeup, photographers taking pictures of transgender children. It's everywhere. And this same message is being driven into their grade schools. By second grade, they're learning about gender identity, taking hormones, and this is all brought in under anti-bullying programs. These programs were passed by Obama and funded by the Pritzker family, one of the most wealthy families in America. There's many of them. Jennifer Pritzker was an Army colonel. He purports to be a female. And runs around with, synthetic sex characteristics of a female. And he drives this ideology into the psychiatric departments of major universities, into other medical institutions, gender hospitals, the military, et cetera, et cetera. And his company, Tawani Foundation, is partnered with Squadron Capital, which is a medical device company. So he's following the same trajectory of Arcus Foundation, right? Stryker Medical is a medical supply corporation, right? And they're going to be profiting off of these surgeries, not just, so-called gender surgeries, but human augmentation. When we open the door to these kind of radical changes to our biology, the way that we're planted in the ecosphere, once we let that go, that tether, anything is up for grabs. you know. They can manipulate your DNA. They can manipulate you any way you want. And that's why these rights are, I mean, from what I can tell, these gender rights are being passed. It's not about people that are allowing a medical attack on their sex. It's for future augmented human beings. I follow the money, and money trails do not lie. They tell you the truth.
Sound kind of familiar? Remember the bullying laws that we were tracking? What was going on with that?
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of it's hard to make the connection with the bull. I think it was just a coincidence. It just happened to play into it. I think there's one step higher.
Oh yeah. No.
Well, then continue.
Okay, here we go. Follow the money.
And so I started following the money, and I looked at all these different NGOs, these non-governmental organizations that were really huge. They were huge, like
I forgive her for doing this.
Arcus Foundation and Gill Foundation. They're mammoth. They've each given like $500 million to spread this ideology through the cultures. You know, not just our culture, but you know, Western cultures, because they fund other organizations that do the same thing. And they create this whole scaffolding, this political scaffolding to drive it, so that you have media people, you have people that are being trained in politics to get them into political institutions, like the Victory Institute, for instance. That's funded very heavily by Arcus Foundation. And like, for instance, Rachel Levine was part of that organization. You know, they call people from different schools in different areas that are going to work for them, and then they train them to be in these positions to drive policy through the culture.
High enough yet? We're getting higher. And now, just like the Hollywood Foundation, Norman Lear, oh yeah, we've got media, culture, and something that she coins appropriately.
And so then they have media people as well, like GLAAD is the media arm. So GLAAD and Arcus Foundation are closely working together. And GLAAD goes about spreading information about how people are supposed to talk about this, because it's a human right and you don't want to offend anybody, right? So the message comes from on high, and what I mean by on high is not Arcus Foundation, I mean Stryker Medical. $17.1 billion corporation and growing by the day in 75 different countries. The medical industrial complex is bigger than the military industrial complex.
See, this really hit home for me. I'm like, yeah, that's what these RNA messenger vaccines were about. This is what all the trans rights is human rights is all about. All the stuff you're not allowed to talk about. And then going back to, and you may know these guys from the earlier days of Silicon Valley and tech. It really is a agenda which, at its heart, is to transhumanism, to get rid of women for sure, at least their baby making capability. And
you can see this trajectory in the along late 1990s, early 2000s. There was a big shift in the culture from data from the digital age and the information age, and it sort of moved into artificial intelligence, transhumanism, robots, nanotechnology, biotechnology, etc. So this is kind of where we're going now. This is like the future trajectory of this. But, Silicon Valley has been pushing a transhumanist agenda for, since the early 2000s, late 1990s. So then Bainbridge meets up with...
Do you know Bainbridge? Does that name ring a bell?
No.
Another interesting character, Martine Rothblatt.
How about that guy? Martine Rothblatt?
Maybe.
Who is also a transhumanist. And Rothblatt is, he's a transsexual. He's a man that's appropriated simulacrums of women's biology for himself, and he calls himself, a transgender or a transsexual. He's very well renowned and very well... appreciated for his accomplishments. So he's been in the tech sector. He's been in the medical sector. He's been in all over Hollywood. He's been on Oprah, and he's been on a million different shows, with his robot wife, which he created. Rothblatt wrote a book, and it's really a blueprint of what's going on in the culture now. This is his ideology, working off of the work of Bainbridge. Whereas we're going to disintegrate the sexes, the boundary between the sexes. There'll be no youth and age. There'll be no, male and female. There'll be no transhumanism is like boundarylessness. You're out there in cyberspace. Ultimately, while you're getting there, it's an upgrade in humanity, melding yourself with machines, transferring human reproduction to the tech sector. In, I think it was late 1980, he got together with a whole bunch of other transvestite lawyers and transsexuals, and they created a document, which was the very first gender bill, which brings disembodiment into the law, the sexual objectification of female biology, into parts, and making a human right out of that.
So
right?
What do you mean disembodiment?
Well, where he's going is full-on disembodiment, where everybody lives in cyberspace. We live in a virtual reality. We don't live in our bodies anymore. We're going to be uploaded into cyberspace. Well, in order to sell that to the public, transhumanism and disembodiment as a life, you're going to have to groom them and get them there. And the way to do that is to create this ideology that says that you can choose your sex. That's disembodiment.
I know it sounds far-fetched, but I saw this whole thing, and there's a lot in there that makes a lot of sense as to why this is happening.
And why is it happening?
Because these people are insane. Well,
that's not the way I see it. Okay. And I have two clips by coincidence.
There's no coincidence, man.
These are about something else, but this was on NTD Business, I believe, and they had Roger Simon on. And he is a novelist and a guy from Hollywood. He's one of their guys that comes on and he kind of expresses a perspective. And I think this takes us above everything you've just played to what it's really probably about. And play this, Roger Simon on communism.
Roger Simon, welcome to our show. Thanks so much for coming on. Now, concern is growing among critics of Trump's indictment that America could be turning into a banana state. But in a recent Epoch Times article, you say that the indictment is a move towards something much bigger than a banana state. Could you elaborate on that?
To call the United States a banana state is a little bit harder. Una Repubblica Bananera in the original. It is not, because it's too big and powerful for that. What it is an incipient communist state of a slightly different form than we're used to, but in very weird and ironic ways similar to the People's Republic of China.
And you say that the U.S. has been evolving towards this end for some time, pointing to censorship from the media and government as examples. What have you seen recently?
One of them is where I'm here in Nashville. And as your viewers know, we've had a real disastrous, awful murder here in Nashville of 6 people at a church, 3 of whom were 9-year-old children. The murder was perpetrated by a woman in her late 20s who decided she was transgendered and was a male and showed up and committed these murders in what one might call terrorist drag. I mean, she looked sort of like a classical terrorist from the Middle East with a machine gun. I mean, that's what she looked like. And this was reported on as transgendered. And of course, the manifesto that she wrote has been suppressed by the government and the FBI. But interestingly enough, the word transgender or transgendered was suppressed by CBS, a major network of our country, for reasons they don't want to make clear, but I think are quite obvious. And that is that the dissolution of the family has been a major intent of communism since the early days of the Bolshevik Revolution.
Oh, you know what? I'll give that to you. I'll give that to you, that the agenda above the agenda of the medical industrial complex is communism. I totally believe that. Of course,
well, it's the dissolution of the family. And
right.
If you remember the Antifa,
yep,
the protocols,
nuclear family cannot exist.
It had to be dissolved, and you've already pointed out that this transgender stuff has been taking over from Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
It's now Trans Lives Matter. Let's play part 2 of this.
It goes in and out because they realize it's very difficult to do. But if you dissolve the family, then what does the individual have left but the state? So the state becomes your family, and then you're under the control of the state, and you're de facto in a communism.
What do you see as the way forward for breaking out of this, what you've called brainwashing?
Not easy, but one way is the old-fashioned way, which is learn about it. Knowledge helps. Realize what's happening to you. I mean, I congratulate NTD for doing that. Epoch Times does it. Others do it. But the other way is to elect people who are awake to that. You know, Donald Trump, for all his pluses and minuses and excessive behavior, some would say, he is certainly very aware of this and is working against it. As another political candidate, less known, Vivek Ramaswamy, very aware of it. Others, too, are aware of it. So you have to elect people who are aware of it. You have to make known the feelings, and you have to talk to your friends and relatives about it. This is maybe the hardest part. It's easy to vote in the secret ballot, but it's hard to talk to people that you've known a long time who can disappear on you, who can alienate you, who can ruin your life.
Wow, this is so smart how they've done this. By abusing children. Because once it's children, you can't say anything. Oh, no. My child is trans. You can't say anything about that. You're horrible. You're a horrible person if you say that.
There is.
Oops, sorry. I mean,
yeah.
Oh, man. And then, okay, so it does kind of fit together, though, because if you want to dissolve the nuclear family, then you do turn back to technology and all kinds of CRISPR, gene splicing, God knows, I don't know what they're talking about to be in charge of that.
Well, and also sterilize people.
Oh, man. Listen
at a young age, that's a good way to dissolve the family.
Listen to Karine Abdul-Jabbar, Jean-Pierre Van Damme.
Does the president have a position on at what age these kinds of therapies and surgeries are appropriate?
That's something for a child and their parents to decide. It's not something that we believe should be decided by legislators.
Yeah, we decide everything else when you can go to war, when you can drink, when you can do all kinds of stuff, when you can have sex. In most states. But no, this is not to be determined. And I think that...
they decide when you can have sex in all states, not in most states.
All states. And I think what happens with people who, people who sin will often try to relieve their guilt by getting others to commit the same sin. So when you've transitioned your child and you see that it's maybe not going all that well, then, of course, the easiest way is, your kid may be trans. You should talk to my doctor about it. Now, and I read the book.
Well, they tend to, the parents of kids who they've put through this by accident or by peer group pressure or whatever, all tend to be activists.
Yes. And when I read the book, that parents give each other, like, my kid may be trans, what to do? It's all about that. It's all about the political fallout. It's about, what your neighbors and your family, it's how to handle that, not how to handle the child. And we know families that have done this, and it has not turned out well. Man, these people are so evil. And anyway, when you have, and this is quite a statement from the former official tranny of No Agenda, to say, hey, I was a cash cow. I am a cash cow. And that's the funny thing about it, is when you get to communism, there's a lot of people making money.
Oh, yeah, of course. Putin is supposed to be the richest man in the world.
Yeah, so they say. But it's other...
no way of knowing.
No, his friends hold it for him. He doesn't hold it himself, of course. That would be crazy. So I do have an idea, though. I don't know if it'll work, but I think that I'm not recommending anyone do this. But when it comes to this, transgender agenda online and these and influencers, I think that you should just take any company, like take Chrysler, and then just post fake artificial generated images of all your transsexual brand ambassadors and see if any one of them has the guts to say, no, that's not associated with us. Someone's got to break this spell. Someone's got to break this spell. This is nuts. Anyway, there you go. So we don't have to talk about that because everyone's obsessed with it.
I was hoping we weren't going to talk about it. I think Dylan Mulvaney's a phony.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
And I just don't see what the attention part of it is. I mean, he, whatever he likes to get attention, does a good job of it. The giveaway to me was always the video that's going around. It's on YouTube when Dylan, as a boy, was on The Price is Right. I think was it The Price is Right? Yeah.
Yeah, Price is Right. Yeah.
It
and
was
running around
like
a nut job.
She runs around like a nut job as a guy.
Don't even say
fruity
she.
Guy.
Don't even say she when it comes to this person. Don't even say that. That's insulting.
And it was like ridiculous. And it's the same person exactly. It was obviously some hot. Well, I'll use that. I don't like it. Oh, it. Let's do that.
There you go.
So it was wants to be in Hollywood. Wants to, and as a person trying to make money, as a screwball, I think did very well.
And Dylan,
there's no reason for me to promote it.
No, of course not. But also know that it is represented by CAA, the very same people who picked up the they did Time's Up. Remember they took the after Harvey Weinstein, then they did Time's Up, and they promoted all this. And I'm sure they promoted Black Lives Matter. These are evil people. These people don't love you or your family or your children or America. They're horrible people. Horrible. So yes, we don't have to talk about it anymore, but we do have to understand that that's the agenda. And I'm with you on the communism part. I'm with you on that. That could be above all of it. Absolutely.
I want people to write this down. This is something I think people should be aware of because you were talking about CAA, and they're highly prevalent in this documentary that's floating around, which just came out about a week or two ago.
Yeah,
and it's done by the New York Times, and they've done a tremendously good job of it, even though it's gotten some criticism from. I think it was the Hollywood Reporter who thought it was a little discombobulated, even though it's incredibly important. It's called Sin Eater: The Crimes of Anthony Pellicano.
Who's that?
He is the fixer in Hollywood who had tapped pretty much everybody's phones and ended up in jail for 17 years for a bunch of. It was racketeering that was going on down there. It's a tremendous documentary. Oh. It's on Hulu and YouTube TV. They have it, but you want to watch it on Hulu if you can. Mm-hmm. It's 2 parts. And it was produced by FX, and the New York Times is behind it. And it documents the kind of evils that were going on in Hollywood in the 90s and 2000s. It's just a tremendous product. I was riveted to it the other day. Riveted.
What's it called again?
Sin Eater: The Crimes of Anthony Pellicano.
Sin Eater. Okay. And any other big names that are fun to talk about in that documentary?
CAA's in there. Gary Shandling's in there.
Whoa!
It's got pretty much. It's astonishing. I would say I was more disgusted watching this than anything else. A lot of the big law firms in L.A. Ovitz.
Oh, of course.
High up on the thing.
Of course.
Ovitz, I think that what happened to Pellicano ruined Ovitz's career. Ovitz was a big part of it. And he was, I think, CAA.
Yeah, and he died young.
He did? I don't know Ovitz is dead.
Oh, yeah, Ovitz died maybe 10 years ago. Yeah.
Michael Ovitz?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll bring it up for you. Allow me to consult the Book of Knowledge. Michael Ovitz died in... Whoa, he's not dead? No. I thought he was dead. Am I thinking about someone else?
I don't know who you're thinking about.
born? I thought he was dead. Maybe they uploaded him.
Anyway, I recommend
this
documentary to the listeners of No Agenda. You'd admire it.
Yes. Why did I think he was dead? Who was it that is dead then? Oh, you know who's dead. And I'll just mention this. Let me see if I actually have it here. Do I have a clip of this? Yeah, this one here.
This morning, more questions surround the stabbing death of Bob Lee, known as a genius in the tech industry, the founder of Cash App and the chief product officer at cryptocurrency startup MobileCoin. The 43-year-old was apparently attacked around 2:30 a.m. Tuesday while walking down a street in San Francisco's Rincon Hill neighborhood, an area described as residential and typically quiet. A local reporter says he viewed nearby surveillance video of the sidewalk not yet made public.
He seems to lift his shirt up as he approaches a car that is stopped on the corner with its flashers on. The car then drives away. He falls to the ground. He gets up again and then walks back on Main the way he came, but on the other side of the street, and falls down.
He collapsed and died a short time later. Lee had moved his family to Miami, but was in the Bay Area on business.
I actually lived right where he got killed, and I used to walk there all the time at night, and I did start slowly playing less and less safe.
Elon Musk offered condolences while commenting about crime, tweeting, "Many people I know have been severely assaulted. Violent crime in San Francisco is horrific, and even if attackers are caught, they are often released immediately." San Francisco's homicide rate is up, averaging 5 murders per month in the last year, 58 in all, compared to 3 murders per month in 2019. But that rate is still far lower than other big cities. As for Bob Lee, his friends are remembering not just his love for technology, but his love for his family.
His dedication to his kids was first and foremost. Bob was Father of the Year.
So what everyone's talking about is how dangerous San Francisco is. Scott Adams also posted a story like, I got mugged at knife point on that same corner. I just want to put out there, something that I have not heard anyone even suggest as a possible idea. And hearing this clip, it is even more possible. He started MobileCoin, which has real legs. I mean, MobileCoin was big. It's integrated in Signal. It's a proof of work-based cryptocurrency. I'm not a fan, but it definitely had rollout. How about murder? Anyone think of that?
I did.
Oh, well, good, because to me that sounds like
the first thing I thought of. I thought it sounded like a hit. He was out here and a guy who's in tech, living in Miami. Mm-hmm. That says to me, that is abnormal.
Yep.
If you're in tech, you don't live in Miami.
Nope.
No.
I think it was a possible hit.
I think it was a hit. That's what I thought when I first heard about it. I never heard of this guy, by the way. I guess he's but I was not ever involved in that part of tech.
No, me neither. I just know about MobileCoin and that he started Cash App, which is huge, of course, and he was part of Square. And by coincidence, I'm not implying anything other than by coincidence, Elon Musk finally does what I said he would do: is he's ruined Twitter, and he has that stupid Doge dog popping up.
I got a kick out of that dog. It's a cute dog, by the way.
It's a shitty dog. No one likes that dog. It's not a cute dog. It's an annoying dog. It's triggering.
According to Jay, she knows what dog that is. She's the dog expert.
It's a Shibu
Inu. You call it a shitty dog?
Yeah.
She says that is indeed a shitty dog.
Oh, do tell.
The dog actually, according to her, and she knows all these breeds because she was a dog walker for years, she says the dog... Nobody likes that kind of dog. She told me the breed. I forgot what it is.
Shibu Inu.
She says it has the personality of a cat. It's not a loving dog. It's not a friendly dog. It doesn't like other dogs. It's a horrible dog.
I'm glad we have that information. That's good to know. Well, there you go. That dog is triggering to me. I literally go on Twitter less because every single time I go there, I get a full screen flash black with that dog.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but since April 1st, when supposedly we all had to pay for Twitter Blue, which I never had, wouldn't. I don't have a blue check mark. You have it. Didn't have to. He didn't take it away. That was a lie.
Still there, yeah.
But I have significant...
By the way, it was there after I got the threat.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. It's still there. It was supposed to be gone April 1st. But I have significantly less engagement on Twitter. I'm getting much less people sending me stuff or feeding back, or if I tweet something or answer something, I get nothing. So it's ruined. And I'm not going to pay $7. I'm not going to pay anything. But I think I kind of predicted he would ruin it. I don't know if you're seeing that, or you don't care, right? You don't use it except to promote stuff, so you don't see much else at all anyway.
I put a tweet up once in a while. I retweet something occasionally, but then I take it down.
Do you feel any less engagement, or you haven't noticed any difference?
I thought the engagement dropped off 5-6 years ago.
Okay. All right. Well, that's pre.
I did testing, and it dropped way off when I had like 10,000 followers very early on.
Mm-hmm.
I would get engagement. I would ask for something, and I'd get
right.
After getting to 100,000, it's like 1/10 of what it was at 10,000.
Interesting.
And that was started a long time ago.
Well, in the backdrop of this, there's a lot of fear mongering going on. Oh my goodness! We even had Crowley, the Assistant Secretary of State PR Department, talking about how the CBDC is coming, the dollar is going to go away, it's all over. And right on cue, here's Marco Rubio, Senate Intelligence Committee, big warmonger, big military-industrial complex guy.
Today, Brazil, in our hemisphere, largest country in the Western Hemisphere south of us, cut a trade deal with China. They're going to, from now on, do trade in their own currencies, get right around the dollar.
Wait, stop. Wait, you mean Brazil of BRICS?
Yes.
Which stands for Brazil,
Russia,
India, China, and South Africa.
Yes.
So this BRICS, which has been around for what, a decade?
Mm-hmm.
Which means they've been doing these deals all along. This is new to him?
Well, this is the anti-China. By the way, he's not talking about Ukraine.
Cut a trade deal with China. They're going to, from now on, do trade in their own currencies, get right around the dollar. They're creating a secondary economy in the world, totally independent of the United States. We won't have to talk about sanctions in 5 years because there'll be so many countries transacting in currencies other than the dollar that we won't have the ability to sanction them. As we are sitting here, focused on some of these nuttiness that's going on, people that are basically dedicating their lives in this country to ensuring that it is legal to mutilate children, to do drag shows in schools. They dedicate their lives to this, and we have another superpower that basically wants to become the world's dominant power at our expense, and these people don't want to focus on it. We had some person on The View yesterday say that our criminal justice system is no better than what China is doing with its genocide of Uyghur Muslims. So we better wake up, or we're going to live in a very different world than the one we've been used to.
Well, I better start watching The View. They said something smart finally. This is crazy.
It's all over the road.
Yeah, man. I don't know. But yes, of course, BRICS, we've been talking about BRICS for a decade at least. But it does apparently seem to be true that we've lost control of Saudi Arabia. And right at the moment when
well, thank you, Joe Biden, who went out and condemned the guy running the place when he ran for office.
Well, exactly. And then
what do you expect?
I think that that we started taking whatever's left in our strategic petroleum reserve, and because of that, Saudi Arabia and perhaps other OPEC countries said, "Oh, you know what? We're just gonna we're gonna stop producing as much. We're gonna make sure that the oil price goes higher." And now we don't even have much of our strategic reserve left. And then the funniest thing, did you see the Prime Minister of Japan visiting with Zelensky?
No, I did not.
Oh, everyone. So that he goes to see Zelensky. He's got the equivalent of a big check. Oh, look at all this.
So he goes to Ukraine?
Yeah, he goes to Ukraine. He meets with Zelensky, gives him the envelope, Yeah. He should have had the big clearing publisher's house check. Look at all this I'm giving to you. I love you. I'm giving this to you because, we're going to buy oil from Russia.
Japan is distancing itself from the United States and the European Union, and it's buying Russian oil above the $60 per barrel. Last December, the European Union and the United States agreed to set a limit on the price of Russian oil at $60 per barrel. This fact, still in force, is part of the retaliation against Moscow for the Ukrainian conflict, also agreed by the G7 countries, including Japan. Barely 4 months after this agreement, the Wall Street Journal reports that Japan broke this agreement and began to buy Russian oil above the limit of $60 per barrel. All this is happening at a time when Russia is redirecting its exports to Asia to counteract the sanctions imposed. This scenario coincides with another delicate moment. Several countries of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries announced last Sunday unexpected voluntary cuts in their production and withdraw crude oil from the market.
So our friends... Our buddies Japan said, it's okay, Joe, but we're going to go buy Russian oil above the $60 proposed limit. What is going on? These people are morons. They're really stupid.
Well, who? Who's stupid?
Biden.
The Japanese?
No, Biden and Obama, whoever's running all that show, they're nuts.
Well, they're doing a poor job, let's put it that way. I've got a thing here about BRICS. This is interesting. BRICS, which is the acronym, it was originally BRIC in South Africa, was had in 2010.
Yeah.
This started in 2001. And who coined the term? Where did it come from, kind of?
Stormy Daniels.
Goldman Sachs.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was Stormy Daniels.
No, it was Goldman, same thing. Goldman Sachs economist Jim O'Neill.
Is there a clip I'm supposed to play here?
No, I'm just reading from the wiki page. I was looking when did BRICS show up? It was in 2001.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. And by the way, I think the EU was also walking away from us. Let me see. I don't know if I have a clip. We had Queen Ursula and Macron visiting in China.
Yeah. I didn't know. I was not under the impression that Ursula went.
Oh, yeah. No, they went together. Together.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think they actually went together. Let me see. I don't have a clip of it. But I mean, I'm so after those two Russian guys hoaxed Fifi Lagarde. That's when I knew that all these people are stupid. They don't know anything. They're just they're dumb. So, well, there you go. Do I have it here? Oh, here's the OPEC. Maybe see what this is.
Oil prices have been rising overnight after a surprise decision by OPEC to cut production. That could mean higher gas prices are on the way. OPEC Plus, which includes Saudi Arabia and Russia, is slashing production by more than 1 million barrels per day until the end of the year. Saudi officials say the cut is to stabilize the market. Gas prices have already been rising at the pump, up 13 cents in the last month. The White House is pushing back on the OPEC cuts, saying we don't think cuts are advisable at this moment given market uncertainty. Oil prices fell last month during the chaos in the banking industry, but now, after the cuts by OPEC, analysts say we could see $100 a barrel by next year.
Yeah, here's from Bloomberg. I don't know if that's... What do you think? Will that happen? I mean, it could happen, I guess.
They always push this idea, $100
We've heard that a lot. It's always been $100
Well, with Biden in office, anything's possible.
French President Emmanuel Macron and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen are in China. This is Bloomberg. We need to try, quote, we need to try to engage with China strategically and speak with them directly about this Russian aggression and the consequences for Europe, Macron said in a speech at the French embassy a day before meeting Chinese President Xi Jinping, which may be today. So this is the EU meeting with our arch enemy. How does that work? And what you don't hear...
How do we do trading with our arch enemy to the extent that we're still taking a beating?
Well, I don't know, man.
What kind of arch enemy is China when we get most of the stuff that you buy at the store from China?
TikTok, man. TikTok. You know what's going on. It's TikTok, man. They're spying on our children. The funniest two headlines. Good. Funniest two headlines.
Somebody has to.
This is the funniest two headlines. Let me see. Do I have a TikTok clip? Because there's so much to talk about. Sales of TikTok owner ByteDance up over 30% in 2022 to reach $80 billion in revenue, matching Tencent's revenue. And in fact, the article it says that double-digit growth revealed in a recent memo to investors topped most global internet leaders, including Meta platforms and Amazon.
Yeah.
So, hello. This is the problem.
The problem I have with this number is, since TikTok is international and China is a huge market.
Yeah.
They don't break out the 80 billion. They have to tell us how much of that 80 billion is American revenue. Yeah, that way we can see what it's really tapping.
I'm with you. But it does come back to back with this article from CNBC as Chief Financial Officer of Google, Ruth Porat, kicked off multi-year employee service cuts. These are big multi-year efforts, she said. Our company-wide OKR on durable savings. What's OKR mean? What's that acronym mean?
I have no idea.
They are cutting muffins on Monday. I'm not kidding. This is in the CNBC.
No, did it say that really? I know they've cut muffins, but only on Monday?
Well, Mondays they were making too many muffins on Monday. It literally says in the article, we've baked too many muffins on Monday. My favorite is no more personal staplers.
Yes, Horowitz and I talked about this on DH Unplugged, and the stapler thing kept cropping up, and we're both. What do they use staplers for in a paperless office? And how many staplers do they need?
Well,
and why do you have to cut back? Do they keep buying more and more staplers? I mean, what is somebody selling them on the side? What's the deal with these staplers?
Well, what really needs to happen is, she said, these are mostly minor adjustments, but she says, now that most of us are in office 3 days a week, we've noticed our supply-demand ratios are a bit out of sync. We bake too many muffins on Monday. We've seen CNBC. I can't believe she said this out loud. We've seen Google buses run with just one passenger and offered yoga classes on a Friday afternoon when folks are more likely to be working home. As a result, we may close cafes on Mondays and Fridays and shut down some facilities that are underutilized. How bad is it when you have to do this? Well, really, it comes to this. This year, this is an email from her. This year, one of our important company OKRs, I still don't know what that is to deliver durable savings through improved velocity and efficiency. All PAs and functions
Wait. What's velocity?
Spending money too fast.
Wait, to improve, when you start hearing that, I've got actually some clips with guys like this, because they're AI clips. These guys are talking through their hats. They just use the word velocity. What does it mean?
Well, I think you're onto something, because in the same paragraph, let me finish it out. Through improved velocity and efficiency, all PAs, whatever that is, and functions are working toward this velocity and efficiency. Googlers that almost sounds like something you take out of your nose like a booger. Googlers have asked for more detail, so we're sharing more information below. This work is particularly vital because of our recent growth, the challenging economic environment, TikTok, and our incredible investment opportunities to drive technology forward, particularly in AI. We improved machine utilization, narrowed our real estate investment, tightened our belt on travel and entertainment budgets, cafes, micro kitchens, and mobile phone usage, and removed the hybrid vehicle subsidy.
What, mobile phone usage?
You're using your phone.
A flat fee per month?
No, that means they're taking them away, and you'll have to keep your laptop longer. You don't get a new laptop as soon. We've removed the hybrid vehicle subsidy. Burn gas. Since then, we've continued to rebalance based on data about how programs and services are being used. We've focused on distributing our compute workloads even more efficiently, getting more of our servers and getting more out of our servers and data centers. We've already made progress with these efforts and will continue to drive efficiencies. This work adds up to adds up given infrastructure is one of our largest areas of investment. And here it is. As we apply our efficient and well-tuned infrastructure and software to machine learning, we're continuing to discover more scalable and efficient ways to train and serve models. They're so all in on this AI bullcrap, it's bankrupting them, and they do not have a revenue model for it. No one's going to pay for this junk. I think they're lost. I think they're in huge trouble.
Well, I don't know how much trouble they're in. They've got revenues that are unbelievable, even if they drop by half.
Well, it sounds to me like they say we've been here before.
They seem panicky.
We've been here before. I'm quoting, back in 2008, our expenses were growing faster than our revenue. So that's clearly what's happening right now. Expenses are higher or growing faster. That's code for higher, faster than our revenue. Because they're all in on this. Oh, AI, Google Barf doesn't work. Oh, how are we going to? We got to charge people for it. No one's going to pay. Nobody. All right, let's do some AI clips. And before we do that, the Adam Curry No Agenda Turing test of this bull crap. Do you remember what it is? No, you don't.
Yeah, you know what a Turing test is, which is the ability of a computer to emulate a human to such an extreme that no one can tell.
Right.
And you have made the assertion that under all circumstances, whether it's written, drawed, or spoken, that you can always spot it. You are the Turing test.
No, incorrect. The Turing test was the first. AGI, by the way, let's say it right. AGI is the way all the cool kids are saying it.
What's AGI mean?
Artificial generated intelligence. All the cool kids are saying
I've never heard this.
Oh, you will.
Well, I'm not a cool kid, so there's that.
Hey, by the way, man, happy birthday.
Thank you. And thanks to all the people. I got a lot of people that donated the $71 necessary to appease the constant complaining about our donations.
Yeah, that worked out well for you.
It did.
Yes. So, no, my Turing test for this AGI is, can you have any type of AGI machine create an audio file that replicates President Trump? And I said, no one can do it. It cannot be done.
Yeah. And we got a copy of one from one of our producers, and he won't say where it came from.
No, listen to this genius one.
I hear good things about Adam Curry, nice guy, good guy, created podcasts, wonderful thing. He's a funny guy, but his co-host John C. Dvorak is funnier.
No, this is not even close. You think this is good?
They got the cadence down a little bit at the beginning.
A very little bit.
But a little bit, and the rest. But it falls apart at the end where it doesn't even sound like the same guy. The beginning guy doesn't sound like the guy at the end.
But it's not how he sounds; it's what he's saying. Trump would never say this.
Well, that's always going to be the case.
Thank you.
I don't know if anybody can find this, but somebody did send a copy to me, which is Jamie Foxx, the actor.
I didn't even want to play that; it was so bad.
Well, I thought it was interesting. I thought it was good.
Really?
And I thought what was interesting is he's the only guy I've heard so far that does both the quiet Trump and the yelling Trump.
Okay. Well, I have it.
Because he does the yelling Trump at the end, even though they mic it down so you can barely hear it. But that yelling Trump, I think, is the harder Trump to do.
It's
too long to play. It's pretty long.
Yeah. Yeah,
let people go look it up. They can go find it.
I can just play a little bit of it just so you can hear. And it works for like a little bit. But it remember, you have to sustain this, and it has to be the type of jokes he would make. It has to be the cadence he would have. I mean, it's like, okay, yeah, great. I mean, people can impersonate him. Sure, lots of stuff sounds
great. Well, that's all I said. Was
great people on both sides. I know Harry, he's a great person. He couldn't vote for me at the time. Now he can vote for me once he gets out. I love Snoop D.L. Double G, great person.
So do you love Death Row Records?
I love Death Row. I love Death. Excuse me.
See, that's what comedians will use. And actors will use something they can replicate. Which, excuse me. Almost anybody can do it now, but there's no AI. This is Jamie Foxx. It's not AI.
I never said it was AI.
No, I know. I'm just saying that until someone fools me with a Donald Trump audio bite, doesn't have to be video even, it's not there.
Yeah, well, we're waiting.
Are you all in on this? You believe this stuff is I mean, I thought we agreed that this is bunk. Expensive
I never
bunk.
said that it was bunk. We're talking about trying to copy somebody's voice. I think that I said that over time, I think it can be accomplished. You might be right about the content might never be what the person would do, but that's always going to be the case.
Well,
and that's the idea. The idea is to duplicate somebody's voice so perfectly, and the content would be something that would start World War III. So that content is still the issue.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm saying AGI is just not going to happen. It's not going to. It's not going to kill the world.
AGI.
Okay, you'll hear it everywhere.
Yeah. Well, you don't hear it in this report, and this is the AI Meta one. We'll start with these clips, and then there's a lot of clips. There's 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 clips here, but not all of them are very long. Let's go with this.
Facebook parent company Meta released a new artificial intelligence model today. It's called the Segment Anything Model, or SAM. It can pick out objects and outline them in images and videos. It can also pick out items outside of its training. Objects can be selected by clicking on them or writing a text prompt. In one demonstration, writing the word cat prompted the tool to draw boxes around each of several cats in a photo. Chief Executive Mark Zuckerberg has said that incorporating generative AI is a priority for the company this year.
Did he say generative AI?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Interesting.
Now, okay, this is the premise of these clips. Meta has determined that if you could draw a box around a cat and call it a cat, it could find other cats in a picture.
All right.
Now, I don't know that this is that new, but they think it's a big deal. So they're going to bring a guy on to talk about this, and this is one of those guys, and I'll use the phrase again, who talks through his hat. He has all the buzzwords, and he makes it sound like he knows what he's talking about. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't have a clue, but he can't really, indicate that and actually say, I don't know. It seems like bullshit to me. He can't say that. So let's go, and we'll catch up with him in a second. This is part 2.
Joining me now is Jake Maymar, VP of Innovation, the Glimpse Group. Now, this new Meta AI model, it can identify objects in an image. What is the significance here?
Well, the biggest value is you can search any image, any video, any sort of spatial place. And the reason why that's valuable is just imagine, you're just like looking at an image, and of course you can see cats, and you're like, okay, well, how is that valuable? Because I do XR, I do VR and AR enterprise solutions. The reason why this is so valuable to me is if I have a headset and I'm looking around, it will automatically know what those objects are. So it will know that's a phone. It will know that's a computer. It will know that's a chair. And because it knows that, there's all these sort of rules that will automatically be associated with it. So if it's a donut, I know I can eat it. If it's a phone, it will actually have data on it. And if it's my phone, it will actually have my data on it. So there's all these ways that it's going to be basically creating a very frictionless experience where you're going to be interacting with the virtual world in a very intuitive way.
I see. I wonder if this is just the beginning. I wonder if this will develop into something even further. Maybe you can comment on that.
Oh, yeah, please comment.
Oh, absolutely. I think this is just the beginning. I think that this is the early building blocks of where this language model is going to go. Right now, they're talking about images and video, but really, model? I think that the real use case is spatial. And if you can identify objects in space, both with AR, so in physical space, and then also in virtual space, you can assign value to those objects.
All right. May I just explain what's going on here?
Well, besides the total bullcrap, and I want to, before you explain, I want to mention something for everyone out there. When anyone says, that's the way you pronounce it, when anyone says because in this exaggerated form, you know that is a tell for I'm full of shit.
Correct. So the Glimpse Group, which is a publicly listed company, I know exactly what they do because a guy who I know pretty well, I would say he's almost a friend, Joy Itoy. He has a company that does this. He does it with people in the Philippines. He gives them an app, and all day long, all they do is look at pictures, and the picture shows you a car, and they do car, and then they get a micropayment. Or the question may be, is there a man in this picture? And they'll show an image of a ring cam. And there's, maybe there's a dog. No, dog. And they get a little micropayment, and they do that all day long. Most of this work, of course, is done in India. And these companies train the large language model all day long. That's what this is. And it won't be perfected until all these Indians die. They just have to keep doing it forever. This is the training that they're doing. This is the incredible smart work that this GAI, which he said, which I think is very funny, pronounced gay. I think it's very interesting, the GAI that they're training, and this is and they can recognize models. Why don't you just give everybody a Filipino? Connect it to your computer. Or a donut. This is dumb. This is a waste of money, and I hope it bankrupts them all.
Well, if you listen to when he talks about that phone could be his phone, and then he knows it'll have everything on the phone. How would that? You have to do that by hand. The phone doesn't automatically, because it's identified as your phone, become your phone.
No.
So let's go to clip 3.
We're Luddites, man. We're nothing but Luddites.
But that's the starting point. But then you can also use like blockchain to actually make those objects have a specific value and have a specific sort of security associated.
Come on. So did you extend that Come on.
Yeah,
I want to hear the boing again too.
And have a specific sort of security associated with them. So, for instance, if I were to pick up my phone, it would automatically know this is my phone. This is specifically my phone. And I would be able to access all the information on my phone without having to have passwords or any sort of identification. It just automatically knows this is my phone, and I can immediately access the information on it.
Oh, I'm so happy. This is going to enrich my life. It will know this is my phone.
And then you won't need a password for it for some unknown reason. When I have my real phone, I need a password.
I use my fingerprint.
How come I don't need a password on my phony phone? Blockchain. See, when he threw blockchain in, it's like, what are we talking about here?
I got to hear that again. Publicly listed company, everybody. Publicly listed company. Let's hear that again.
Starting point. But then you can also use like blockchain.
Thank you. That really worked for me.
Yeah, blockchain with a boing always works.
Always funny.
Onward, I think we're on to 4.
Yeah.
Now, is there any concern that comes with this? As you know, with all new technology, it always has some worry associated with it.
Oh, absolutely. With all new technologies.
Absolutely. Any new technology, like, we got to be very worried about every new technology.
Yeah.
Ooh,
new paperclip.
That's right. That's why we're taking away Googler staplers.
Oh, absolutely. With all new technologies, being able to search an image or a video or a spatial location, that definitely is the cause for worry in some ways, because now that's information that we didn't have before. It's kind of one of those things. It's like privacy. Privacy is definitely a concern. As this right now, it can identify cats, but what if it's a specific cat?
Oh no!
It can identify people, but I don't believe it can identify specific people. Well, when it can, then that's a privacy concern.
Well, what happened to the danger?
I see. And can this be combined with other AI models, AI programs like ChatGPT or Midjourney, for example? Can all these things work in tandem?
Absolutely.
Okay, just in the middle of this sequence, please. Clip of the day. I'm crying. Please tell me you have more.
Yes, I got two more.
Okay.
Now, one of them, which isn't funny, this is in the middle of the commentary about can you get jobs. Now, out here on the coast...
Did we do 4? Oh, no, that was the 4. That was
4 with the BS.
All right, yeah.
The commentary is that if you can get an AI job out here now, today...
Yeah.
And I think JC, who's done work in this area, is probably going to end up doing this. Maybe not. You can get, it's like $500,000 a year.
I told you that. That's what they're hiring people
for
in Austin.
You told me this.
Yeah.
But
I'm not your son, by the way. I'm your partner.
No, but JC's the one who's been doing AI stuff, and he's the one who could get a job in AI.
In Austin?
No, here.
No. Oh, good.
Or it turns out anywhere. If you listen to this next clip, which is AI jobs, it's like this thing is so out of control that the whole notion, and you brought it up earlier about this, it's like a fad that's gone completely off the rails. Listen to this.
I spoke with HR professional Ira Wolf for his take on available jobs in the AI industry.
Industries such as finance and banking, a lot of the tech people are moving over to those roles outside of the tech companies per se, but into banking and insurance.
As you might expect, the information sector dominated, but the sectors using AI are quite diverse. Other fields with top percentages included manufacturing, agriculture, forestry, fishing, and hunting.
And some surprising ones, agriculture, fishing.
Don't tell Joe Rogan. He won't be able to elk hunt with his bow and arrow anymore. Oh, no.
Manufacturing, agriculture, forestry, fishing, and hunting.
And some surprising ones, agriculture, fishing, and hunting. About 1.6% of jobs. Education was 1.5%. Management.
Looking at location, California posted the most AI-related jobs with over 140,000, followed by Texas and New York.
So a lot of the people from tech, although they may be leaving the Apples, Googles, Metas of the world, certainly have a lot of other opportunities that are out there.
Opportunities that will hopefully increase as AI technology continues to develop.
Okay. I want to say something. I want you to pass it on to Buzzkill Jr. for me. A friend of mine who I met through the show, a good friend of mine. That means we've had dinner at each other's house and we've broken bread together. So a real friend.
Right. My rule of being a friend. Yeah.
Real friend. He used to work at Apple Special Projects. This is the group that actually the Apple Watch came out of this group, and they were working and they continue to work on the Apple car. It's real, and he doesn't believe the Apple car will be, he says, in our lifetime, yes, but probably not for another 8 to 10 years at least. He says when Tesla started, and Apple decided the Special Projects group was going to go and do cars. He says we were giving people $1 million signing bonus, $1 million a year salary. He said anything it took to get the right people. Tell Buzzkill Jr. to go, man, go, and demand it. Say, look, I really need I need a $5 million signing bonus and $1.5 million a year, and unrestricted stock. They would give them unrestricted stock. So
I am going to clip this and send it to him.
Good, because I think we're at that type of level again.
Yeah, when these moments happen, they're short-lived because people get a clue.
You got to hurry, yeah.
But yeah, you got to get in there and get out. Okay, now this is the last clip of this AI series. And this is the old brother clip.
In the future, the world may be filled with hostile AI systems. This is according to a paper by the Center for AI Safety. Its director, Dan Hendricks, says even if some developers build altruistic AIs, there will still be those who build less altruistic AIs. Hendricks says the less altruistic ones will outcompete the altruistic ones. Now, think about this. In the business world, a lot of corporations that put profit above everything else could use AI wrongfully. They could have AI systems help make profit in ways that may or may not be legal. Hendricks believes less moral AI systems will perform better and may therefore in the future fill the world. Worse yet, he believes they could even make CEO-level decisions without any oversight. Dan Hendricks has a PhD in AI from UC Berkeley. He developed a key part of the deep learning model, and he's been researching AI for the past 7 years. So we asked Hendricks why he thinks this is. He told us that the current AI race is reckless.
The current AI arms race isn't prioritizing safety. They're largely prioritizing just making the most powerful products as possible and trying to position themselves to automate as many jobs as possible. Safety is a secondary consideration. So without the public raising their voice about these sorts of concerns, I find it unlikely that they're going to stop by their own devices.
Hendricks says companies are locked in a survival of the fittest environment. The ones who play it safe when it comes to AI will lose the race.
Okay, so this is actually a good clip. Because he talks about the race, he talks about all the problems, and this group, Center for AI Safety at safe.ai.
You found it.
Oh yeah, I don't see any names because why would you ever put your name on this? But I do see what are some of the societal scale risks that CAIS is worried about. I will quote. AI's application in warfare can be extremely harmful. With machine learning enhanced aerial combat and AI-powered... This is a sales tool, by the way.
We saw this, by the way, in RoboCop, but you can continue.
Yes. AI-powered drug discovery tools potentially being used for developing chemical weapons. Dude, these people are selling to the military-industrial complex. This is not considered danger. This is considered a sales call. CAIS is also concerned about other risks, including increased inequality due to AI-related power imbalances, the spread of misinformation, and power-seeking behavior. Whoa!
That'll be it.
Everybody wants this. Okay. So let me get one of these jamokes, one of these AI fraidy cats, the one of the people who wrote the open letter. Remember the open letter that Elon signed?
Oh yeah, the open letter.
And Andrew Yang. This is Eliezer Shlomo Yudowski. Or Eliezer. I think Eliezer Shlomo Yudowski, American writer on decision theory and ethics, best known for popularizing ideas related to friendly artificial intelligence. He is co-founder and research fellow at the Machine Intelligence Research Institute, a private research nonprofit based in Berkeley, California, right up the road from you. His work on the prospect of a runaway intelligence explosion influenced philosopher Nick Bostrom's 2014 book, Superintelligence, Path, Dangers, and Strategies. We are dumb, first of all. We are dumb. You and me are stupid. I mean, we could be making...
We could have been doing this a year ago.
This would have been the exit strategy of all exit strategies.
I to be honest about it, I don't think so. And I'll tell you, unless we were getting that $1 million bonus. But for that kind of thing, those books don't sell. Nobody cares about this crap.
No, you don't need
that
a book.
That book probably sold 3 copies. And, put together some phony baloney foundation, institute, whatever it is. We could do that too.
Yes.
But who wants that agony?
Military industrial complex wants consultants. This, by the way, love him, has Ron Bloom written all over it. So now listen to the same Yudowski character on what many deem to be one of the most intelligent podcasts ever created by MIT super smart professor dude Lex Friedman. You've seen this? He looks like one of the Men in Black. He wears black. You've seen his interviews,
cool.
right? Yeah. Very smart guy. Just talks so smart. And he's interviewing this guy. I have a clip. And this guy looks like he has a hat. He's got a gut, which is, just flopping over. He looks like, who's your comic book friend?
My comic book friend?
Yeah. He collects comic books.
You're not the Simpsons guy, comic book.
No. He does a podcast. He hangs around.
Oh, Andy Ihnatko.
Andy Ihnatko. There he looks a bit like Andy Ihnatko.
Okay,
especially with the hat. Now listen to him. This man is smart because if he plays his cards right, he could make $100 million consulting for people.
I had a conversation with Sam Altman. We'll return to this topic a few times.
And just a reminder, Sam Altman is is that punk who runs OpenAI ChatGPT. Of course, we have ChatGPT 4 now, which is, this is the one that's going to kill us.
He turned the question to me of how open should OpenAI be about GPT-4. Would you open source the code? He asked me. Because I provided as criticism saying that while I do appreciate transparency, OpenAI could be more open. And he says, we struggle with this question. What would you do?
Change their name to Closed AI and sell GPT-4 to business backend applications that don't expose it to consumers and venture capitalists and create a ton of hype and pour a bunch of new funding into the area. But too late now.
But don't you think others would do it?
Eventually. You shouldn't do it first. If you already have giant nuclear stockpiles, don't build more. If some other country starts building a larger nuclear stockpile, then sure, then, even then, maybe just have enough nukes. These things are not quite like nuclear weapons. They spit out gold until they get large enough and then ignite the atmosphere and kill everybody.
Why did you...
Wait.
And there is something to be said for not destroying the world with your own hands, even if you can't stop somebody else from doing it. But open sourcing it, no, that's just sheer catastrophe. The whole notion of open sourcing this was always the wrong approach, the wrong ideal. There are places in the world where open source is a noble ideal, and building stuff you don't understand that is difficult to control, that where if you could align it, it would take time. You'd have to spend a bunch of time doing it. That is not a place for open source, because then you just have powerful things that just go straight out the gate without anybody having had the time to have them not kill everyone.
These people are insane.
And boring.
This is climate change. This is the new climate change hype. We're going to have committees, we're going to have committees, we're going to have Paris meetings, we have to have all the world leaders come together. We have to control AI because junkets. Pierre, expand the salon. We're coming. This is insane. I'm sorry. I've seen this movie before. I've heard all the warnings. I mean, this is... Please, John, you've been around long enough. Tell everybody this is bull crap.
Like I said, we got a letter from somebody. I mentioned this on Horowitz's show, which is we got a letter from someone, one of our women producers, and she mentioned this. And as soon as she said it, I said, I forgot all about that. If you recall, the first iteration of AI was in the 80s, and they had the fourth generation project going to happen in Japan. They're going to have some machine that's going to run the world, and they were throwing money after dime after dollar into Stanford, and McCarthy was there, and all of it, AI, and it was nuts. And then it all collapsed because it wasn't producing anything of value, and it was just a joke. And it collapsed to the point where in the 90s, and I think this was in probably the mid to late 90s, and she pointed this out, and I said, I remember this. If you were a new startup or a venture first company, you needed venture funding, you could not even say AI or you wouldn't get a nickel.
Well, it's coming back, and the canary...
Yeah, 20 years later, it comes back after the late 90s, when if you said AI, you wouldn't get a nickel. Now it's everybody's forgotten, all the people that remember any of that. In fact, I had forgotten it until I was reminded in this note about that little phenomenon, which is if you said AI, you wouldn't get a nickel. It's now everyone's forgotten it. And so let's try this again, people.
So the canary in the coal mine is and thank you, Elon, and you ruined my Twitter, because all of a sudden I get tweet after tweet after tweet from the guy who's all in on it. And please, people, do not email me pictures of your AI generated output of how smart it was to answer your prompt engineering, puking. Who could be the canary in the what Silicon Valley tech influencer, if you can call it that, who would be the one to show that we are at peak AI hype?
Oh, I don't know, Mark Andreessen. There's a million of them.
Robert Scoble.
Oh, Scoble, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And
so what does Scoble say?
Oh, he posts this article. Listen to this. Building God. The rise of AI is the new divine. Now, Building God 1.0, that was religion. But then we had God 2.0, that was the search engines. See, that was Google. That was God 2.0. And Building God 3.0 is artificial intelligence. Yes, and with this, we will be able to control God, and to build God in our image. I love this. You cannot, and it's interesting. There's a big picture at the end of Stalin for some reason. Well, there you go. That makes nothing but sense. He says, human leaders have created their own religions, often leading to great human suffering. Pictured Joseph Stalin. So they're going all in on this, and I think there's a good chance it will bankrupt one or two, or put one or two companies in severe distress. Remember that Google, they had to run all of a sudden. They're retooling for AI. With most of the AI projects, as far as I know, really run on Azure from Microsoft. They're probably laughing about it. And then Google came out with BARF, and the first thing it said was it answered something wrong. The stock price dropped $80 billion or some crazy amount like that.
Yeah.
So
I remember that.
So it's bull crap. And we've seen this, literally you've seen this AI thing come around. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun to see, and it'll be fun to see who goes bankrupt first. But this will not end well. It's too expensive, particularly the Chat GPT-4 stuff, whatever it is. People have to pay for it. No one's going to pay for that. Their model, their advertise, and in a soft ad market, you're going to do this? This is when you need to be, tightening inventory maybe, or doing something to get your CPMs up. You're not supposed to be retooling and spending all your money on stuff that you can't get advertising on. Unless I'm crazy. I'm no business major.
Well, I've said this before. They have copyright issues with this, with the art creation.
I have a note about that.
Please yes. Read this note.
Yes, the note. Well, it's from the. Hold on a second. It is from the copyright. It's copyright registration guidance from the. This is in the Federal Register. It's from the U.S. Copyright Office, and this Copyright Office issues this statement of policy to clarify its practices for examining and registering works that contain material generated by the use of artificial intelligence technology. So it doesn't answer all of what we're talking about, but it says very clearly, by law, one such recent development is the use of sophisticated artificial intelligence AI technologies capable of producing expressive material. These technologies train on vast quantities of pre-existing human-authored works and use inferences from training to generate new content. What they say is, only a human being can get a copyright. No machine is, by law, allowed to get to take out a copyright on anything. It's not exactly answering our question, but they are saying, no, you cannot register a copyright with anything generated by a machine. It has to be human.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that I didn't know. I was more going along the lines of the liability issues, which I think, and I'm not absolutely sure, but it's either Getty Images or one of these other big companies who see this coming down the road because they're not stupid, are already suing people for stealing their images and then incorporating them into other images in a way that violates copyright. This is the legal issues here are profound.
It's better time to become a lawyer. In the office's view, it is well established that copyright can protect only material that is the product of human creativity. Most fundamentally, the term author, which is used in both the Constitution and the Copyright Act, excludes non-humans. The office's registration policies and regulations reflect statutory and judicial guidance on this issue. And then they go into Burrow-Giles Lithography Company versus Sarony, where a defendant accused of making unauthorized copies of a photograph argued the expansion of copyright protection to photographs. And Congress said, no, a photograph is made by a camera. I mean, that's how far they go with this. So no.
Well, that photograph thing has been reversed.
Oh, well, they don't say so in their brief.
Photographs are copyrighted because they're taken by a human. Just because the camera was an intermediary doesn't mean that if you write a novel and you use a pen, I don't think that you can't copyright it because a pen was involved, or a typewriter, or a computer.
I hear you. I don't think either of us are qualified without reading all of this to understand what they're talking about.
We're qualified enough.
I think we're both qualified to know enough that this AI is BS. But it'll be fun to watch people freak out over it because we're all going to die. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage. Say in the morning to you, the man who put 3 C's in the BRICS currency. Please say hello to my friend on the other end, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. John C. Dvorak.
Well, in the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. Also in the morning to all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
And in the morning to the trolls in the troll room. We've had pretty good attendance recently. Let's see. Come on, trolls. Put up your hands. Let's see how many of you are hanging out here. For Thursday, 1963, so we're close to our 2,000 number. That's above our 1,800. So I think we're doing better every single time.
I thought last Thursday we had 2,000.
No, I think we had way above that on Sunday. I don't know if we had 2,000.
No, Sunday was 24.
I'm not sure about
I think last Thursday was 2,000, and it was because of the, we did talk about Trump or something. Everyone wanted to hear what we had to say.
We got to talk about that too. I forgot.
Trump?
Yeah. Not about Trump, about the media. That's the funny thing. We got to deconstruct some of the insanity that was going on for sure. That is the Troll Room. You can follow along, listen to noagendastream.com. It's global. You can check it out, trollroom.io. That'll give you, right there, there's a little chat widget. You can log into the Troll Room. You can listen to those stream live, or we recommend getting one of those modern podcast apps at podcastapps.com. Drop your legacy crap. You can import all of your podcast subscriptions right into it. We suggest Podverse is a great one because it works really well. It'll alert you when the bat signal is sent. You pop it open. They're right where you get your No Agenda podcast, and you can listen live. And of course, we have the Troll Room integrated in that. And also, you can use that for some of the other features we have, like transcripts. It's amazing, really, that Apple and Spotify don't have transcripts. That's one of the first things we put into podcasting 2.0 for, the disabled. It's actually a law that you need to put in transcripts.
This is right.
But of course, Apple, they don't care. Spotify, they don't care. Notice Amazon or Google, they don't care.
They hate the disabled.
But we do. We have deaf people, lots of them. They're our friends. We have blind people, but we also have deaf people, and they love reading along with the people who are hard of hearing. And they love reading along with the transcripts. And it's funny, too, because sometimes the brilliant AI, I still cannot train it to write down John C. Dvorak. It comes out as JAHNSI Dvorak. So it's hilarious how it's going to kill us, this AI. Along with that, you can always...
With typos.
Well, that's not just a typo. That's a complete misinterpretation. Of course, you can also follow Adam at noagendasocial.com on our Mastodon, or John C. Dvorak at noagendasocial.com. I'm also on Nostr if you're looking for me. And the cool thing about the album art is that if you're listening live, you can follow along at noagendaartgenerator.com, and you can see what the artists are making in real time. Or later, our very own Dreb Scott puts it together and puts it into our chapter, something else you can only get on these modern podcast apps. And it's really cool to look at. I think on some car systems, they'll they'll show you the art on the dashboard as it cycles through it. And we want to thank the artist actually, who brought us the artwork for episode 1543. We titled that Buffalo Feathers. And this was a funny piece brought to us by Tantanil. It was the podcast in a can. What was the can part we were talking about? We were talking about something on the show. It was
DOS in a can.
DOS in a can. Yes, DOS in a can. And it was a beautiful piece. I mean, it had a little jack with a headphone jack and a little hole to receive the headphone jack, and it said podcast in a can. I mean, it was well done. Consume immediately.
It was extremely professional.
Yes. Let's go take a look at No Agenda Art Generator, see what else we had that we talked about.
There wasn't much else there that was going to work. A lot of handcuffs.
Handcuffs for 45, yeah. There's a lot of that.
And that wasn't going to happen.
No. They weren't really funny or great. I mean, Roger Roundy did an admirable job. I mean, a professional piece with 45 in the handcuffs, but I don't know. It was like, that's the one thing that never happened either. It never was going to happen.
No, that wasn't going to happen. They didn't even take a mug shot.
No. And it also kind of makes this too important, you know. With all the stuff that you just heard in the past hour and a half, I'd say there's other things going on in your world besides this media
besides
farce.
Trump.
Ooh, that was good. I'm going to have to tag that. There was also every single person that was out there at the courthouse, they all had their phone out. They were all doing YouTube and TikToks and Reels and streaming live, and it was a media event. Everybody, I mean, what is this? This is so sad when you see that happen. And there was a fight on 6th Street in Austin, like a pretty big brawl, and it was all kinds of people, black, white, brown, everyone fighting and pulling each other's wigs and stuff is nuts. And what is everyone else doing? They're all phone. It's sad. No, where are the people who go and try and stop these things? They're gone. No, people are, I'm going to get some likes from this. I got to get my phone out. We're doomed as a society. What else was there? Southwoke.com. You couldn't do better than Southwoke themselves. No, I think that was kind of it. It was just, it stood out. No doubt. We went, okay, that's it. I mean, Drag Queen Story Hour. We're not going to put that on our album art. We're not going to put drag queens out there. I don't think. It would have to be pretty interesting and funny for us to do that. It would have
to be hilarious.
Yeah. So I don't think that's going to happen. Thank you very much, Tom Tennille. We highly appreciate the work that you've done, that all of the artists do. It is incredibly appreciated. NoAgendaArtGenerator.com is where you can see all of these pieces of work. People are already creating stuff. So I see that dog, Comic Strip Blogger. That dog is AI generated, and that dog is never going to go on our album art. Not going to happen. It's all part of our value for value model, and value for value works pretty simply. We've been doing it for 15 years. It's a roller coaster from time to time, but the way it works is we do this show. You can access it, listen to it for free, anytime, anywhere. Spread it around, do whatever you want. If you get any kind of value from it, if you laugh, what's a laugh worth? You go to Joe Rogan's club, you're going to pay $20 for a laugh before you had a drink. Well worth it though. Except for us.
So the Shibu Inu that he did with the artificial intelligence, obviously, is what he does.
Yeah.
There's a dog with no canine teeth. What kind of artificial intelligence is this?
Well, AI has a lot of problems with fingers, and apparently dogs' canines. They'll fix that, I'm sure, but someone sent me, look, there's this new thing where parents can take their kids skydiving. And then you look at all the kids that are like with their mouth open, flying from the pressure, jumping out of a plane with a sky jumper. And they have 6-7 fingers. Come on, stop insulting me. Stop insulting me.
It's a simple rule.
AI can't do it for some reason.
The rule's not there.
Well, for some reason, they can't get it done. The mid-journey is the... Anyway.
Yeah, mid-journey.
Anyway, so that's the whole concept. You don't have to donate for every single show. You can add it up. You can donate later. You can be on it. You can if you want, or every week or every month. And the beauty of it is you determine what value is. You determine. $5 a month could be a lot of money to you. We're just as happy with any other donation as long as you felt that you were returning the same amount of value you got. Maybe you learned something on this. Maybe you laughed about this AI nonsense. Maybe you got a great idea to create an entire $1 million career. Think about us. So we like to thank these people. We like to thank them. Everyone always wants some reason to donate. And of course, we have our executive producers and our associate executive producers, just like Hollywood. These credits are forever and they're for real. Go look at IMDb, No Agenda executive producer. You'll see the people, serious Hollywood bigwigs even use these credits. And there's a lot of people using it, your resume, your LinkedIn, etc. And we kick it off by thanking Larry from Pace, Florida, who comes in with a cool $1,000. Oh, and here's a perfect example. He says, "Dear John and Adam, I am ashamed to admit I've been listening to No Agenda since the first Joe Rogan appearance in 2020 without donating. After Joe Rogan donation. After selling my home 2 weeks ago, which I would presume he made some money, I decided I should use $1,000 of the proceeds to become an Insta-Knight. I asked for the title of Sir Up. No jingles, but I would like a de-douching.
You've been de-douched.
Then he says he would also like a jobs karma to go with that. And he says, thank you very much. And we thank you. This is exactly what we asked for and what I just talked about.
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Up next is Dreb Scott,
We're talking about him, Dreb. We're talking about
good old Dreb. 96354, 96354-456. I don't know what that means, but
I know because I asked him.
Oh, what is it?
It's exactly the amount he needed to become a duke. Archduke. I'm sorry, Archduke.
A practical man. This donation takes me from Duke to Archduke, Dreb Scott, of this Southern California mega region. Happy birthday, John. Thank you. No jingles, no karma. Dreb Scott, 3368999.
Yes. Let me tell you what that is. Even though we don't have the new webpage up, I did tweet out the IBEX Pay QR code for people to donate with Bitcoin. And Dreb Scott sent us 3,368,999 Satoshis, which equals this, at the time, 963.54. So there you go. That came in through a Bitcoin payment.
Yes. Now, we should mention the Bitcoin payment. We don't have wallets. The Bitcoin payment goes to these guys. They give us the cash equivalency immediately.
Yes. Keep mentioning that. That is absolutely true. And it's what we agreed on, and I agree that is a safe way for us to start.
Yeah. That way there's we're not holding Bitcoin.
Correct. Sir Fodfather is in Indianapolis, Indiana. In the morning, Jen, Sir Fodfather here with a donation to help celebrate completing my 75th year on the planet and John's 71st. I'm still older than you young whippersnapper. Happy birthday, John. Thanks to both of you. No jingles, no karma. Thank you for your courage, and we thank you, sir.
Ashley Slater's next in Elk River, Minnesota. Nuts. In the morning, and this is Switcheroo. Ashley Slater from Elk River, Minnesota here. This donation is from our meetup last Friday, the 2023 Secret Spy Balloon Symposium. I hosted this with my husband, Ben, and friend Marina. We were happy to see 17 comrades brave the springtime blizzard conditions to come to our meetup. I made a 33-themed leather journal for the event, and those who donated to the show were entered for the chance to win it. We raised $370 for the show. The winner of the book was Jody, Sir Knight of the East Side's wife. So Jody gets the credit for this particular donation. That's the switcheroo.
No, it's not true. It comes after that.
She was so happy to receive it. I chose to donate $370 on behalf of the future knight Kaladin Pettis. First name is pronounced Kaladin.
So who do we give it to? Kaladin?
Was the very popular wee baby who graced our presence that night. To all of you who came and said hello and everybody made it home safely. Thank you. See you next time. Oh, and a serious question from Marina. Do spooks really attend some meetups? Yeah, there's usually, I think in probably every meetup there's one. So yes, you had one there. You probably knew who it was. As far as I can tell, this says Jody. The winner of the book was Jody.
Yes, but I chose to donate the $370 from today on behalf of future knight Kaladin Pettis. As far as I'm concerned, the switcheroo, which is also highlighted in black on in bold.
No, that's Jay did that.
Yeah, so Jay agrees with me. I would say that this is to Kaladin.
Okay.
All right. Good. And thank you very much, Ashley, for my beautiful, because I received my beautiful leather notebook with the 33 on it. The one that we talked about when she donated that.
Yes, they came a week ago.
Yes, and I decided to use it for my notes for every single podcast I do. So, when I write down titles and other stuff, and I thought that would be kind of a fun.
That'll last a couple of months.
It's pretty thick. It'll last a while.
You do 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 podcasts
a day. Sven Granholm in Hapeville, Georgia, 345.05. Okay, happy 71st birthday to John C., 41st to me, sweet 16 to my daughter, Isla, the 5th to niece, Leona, and 3rd to best friend daughter, Elle. All basically on the 5th. This literally is the whole note. No jingles, no karma from Topsom, Maine. All right, thank you, Sven. Good note.
Yeah, Sam Onan, Eden Prairie, Minnesota, 33371. So I assume that's my happy birthday note. And all he does, he wins today with the note that says thanks.
Good one. By the way, from the P.O. box, I also got my Area 51 swag with a little flying saucer. And I also got the Castel Solano. Did you get the Castel Solano stuff?
Yeah. Well, I forgot what it was, but yeah, I got something.
It's beard and mustache wax, but also works.
Oh, yes, a ton of it. Yeah. I got a bunch of beard and mustache wax, which I handed over to Brennan.
Well, you can also... Who's that?
That's Jay's boyfriend.
All right. You can also use it on your skin, though, after shaving. So I've tried that, and it seems like a fabulous product. Next on the list, we have Matt Payne from Taylor, Wisconsin, our favorite, 333.33 in the morning, gents. Matt here from the Coulee Valley area of the dairy capital of the world, Wisconsin. About a month ago, I walked into work when I slipped on the ice, fell to the pavement, broke my femur. 2 surgeries later, I'm mostly healed, but still bedridden for another week until I can hopefully put weight on it. This is not a great note. Here we go. Things in healthcare.
No.
Well, it's a boots on the ground or boots in the bed. Things in healthcare up here are in crisis. Believe me, brother, it's everywhere. This hospital fired approximately 10% of their staff because they wouldn't accept the vaccine into their lives, and the excuse for every hiccup in patient care or staff issues is either COVID or lack of staffing. The nurses, CNAs, physical therapists, and providers have been great, but there's a sense of a crisis that seems to hang in the air. We've heard this from people in Arizona. We've heard this from people everywhere. So I'd like to extend some much-needed karma to the hardworking staff that are helping patients in medical centers everywhere. Yes, a lot of them listen to the show as well. Shout out to Kevin, Alpha Charlie 7 Kilo November, who despite changing call signs a lot, is a solid dude that hit me in the mouth circa episode 760. Kevin is a sustaining donor who is thus definitely not a douchebag. Plus, he's in Arizona, where no one slips on anything. I, however, while donating before, have received far more value from No Agenda than what I've given, so a de-douching for moi is definitely appreciated.
You've been de-douched.
And then he says, thanks for all you've done. Love and light. Jingles, I'll take a goat scream that made I sound when my femur snapped. Have you seen that juice? And an LGY. Okay, well, we have all of that for you.
Oh, my gosh. Can you see that juice?
Yay! All done for you, sir. Thank you very much. 73s from Matt, Kilo Bravo 9, Uniform Juliet Echo. 73s, Kilo 5 Alpha Charlie Charlie.
Sir Faith in Heidelberg, Deutschland. Heidelberg, thank you for creating this show. You keep putting out an outstanding product. I'd like to request some find relationship karma. Cheers, Sir Faith, pronounced Sir Fight. Sir Fight.
We'll give you that karma. May I recommend you go to a No Agenda meetup? That's where you can find it.
You've got karma.
Connection is protection, brother. Ulrich Herkens, Wiener Neustadt, the new Wiener town. Ulrich Herkens, 333. Thank you, Wiener.
That's in Austria, I might add.
Yes. Dear Adam and John, happy birthday to you. 1, happy birthday to you. Keep it up. You guys rock. 2, this is my first donation. Please de-douche me.
You've been de-douched.
And finally, number 3, please give jobs karma for my smoking hot girlfriend, Ava. Thank you for everything you do, and thank you, Ulrich.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Oh, with the goat.
Johnny O in East Dubuque, Illinois. Hey guys, discovered the podcast when Adam was on JRE in July 2021. Enjoyed Adam on Headbangers Ball back in the day. This is my first donation at 333. Sorry it took so long. I know you dislike long notes, but I feel like I have some content to add, if not relevant. Leave it at a huge. You can leave it at a huge thank you for all you do. Spend most of my adult life working in the marketing advertising field, convincing people to buy crap they don't need. Adam, quit outing all of your secrets, by the way. I can tell you after long discussions with colleagues about social media advertising, TikTok is taking over. Mm-hmm. And we have no doubt the entire China threat is just a move to squeeze them out.
There you go.
It used to be that you wanted to pay Google to be on the top at the top when someone did a search. That is not the case anymore. Now that TikTok is so popular. Our research shows that 80% of the under 25 age group goes to TikTok to search. Anyway, thanks for the great podcast.
And we got that from my sister Willow, who wrote that in her thesis from actual Google, from Google's own research in Google Italy. That's how it works. And there's a tip for everybody. I agree. It's great content. Anybody who's in marketing communications, there you go. Rob,
call your TikTok salesperson immediately.
Today, to get in on some great offers. Rob is in York, South Carolina, comes in with 321.23, says donating in honor of my smoking hot wife Jade. Happy 30th birthday. Please play the Vocal Fry jingle and add her to the birthday list. Rob from New York, South Carolina, of course.
Obviously, I read the New York Times like all day long, mainly on my iPad app.
Sir Luca in Walla Walla, Washington. ITM gents, happy birthday, John. Here's your favorite gift, a donation. Jingles, please. Jill Abramson.
No! What?
That's what you were reading.
2 in a row. No. As for a Vocal Fry jingle, that's our Vocal Fry. Do we have a different Vocal Fry jingle?
No.
Oh, so it's 2 in a row.
Yeah, 2, which is a good example of random number because this is ridiculous. Jill Abramson Vocal Fry, orange, and Jobs Karma, the Pelosi Trump Joe variety, the big one. Sir Luca of the Southeast.
Obviously, I read the New York Times like all day long, mainly on my iPad app.
Orange! Jobs. And jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Brenda Romano in Petaluma, California. Hello, No Agenda. This is a shout out to you, John and Adam, for continuing to advocate for free thought and open discussion.
We don't advocate
Happy
for
1
it.
year, Annie.
We just do it.
We don't advocate it for anything, to be honest about it.
Just do it.
Happy 1 year, Annie. To my husband, Mike Romano, I need a de-douching and a goat scream.
You've been de-douched.
Oh, then there's a request to read on Sunday, April 16th. We don't do that, sorry.
You can ask us before that show day. Dame Becky and Sir Mike from Katy, Texas. Of course, the Texans come in. Associate Executive Producership with 243.60.
You passed over Doris.
Doris Morris, Doris Morris in Hanover, Massachusetts, $250. No note. Couldn't find one. Unless you have one, John?
Nope.
Then we get a double up karma for you.
You've got karma.
And I'll do Dame Becky and Sir Mike from Katy, Texas now at 243.60. Please credit it to our honorable number one son, Chris Kinney. It's Italian, think Chianti. In celebration of his 47th trip around the sun on April 6th, Chris hit us in the mouth a couple of years ago, and we are forever grateful. It's 197.60 for his birth year and 46 for his birthday, April 6th. Dame Becky and of the Great Katy Prairie and Sir Mike of the Great Katy Prairie. They donate a lot. I love those two.
That's a switcheroo.
Good point. Chris Kinney. I should put that in now. And they sound like fun folk.
Yeah. Dame Astrid's next on the list, our friend.
Oh.
She's in Tokyo. $222.71. Happy birthday, dear John. You you remain a chick magnet. Much love, Dame Astrid, Duchess of Japan, and all the disputed islands of the Japan Sea.
I would have to concur.
Yeah.
A lot of the No Agenda ladies at the meetups, they think you're a chick magnet.
They're knocking at the door.
Justin Polgar, Santa Cruz, California, 222.33. John, I love that you were born the same year as my dad. It echoes both a finely aged authority and a healthy rebellious flair in my being. We all know what you're talking about, Justin. Since JCD read my last note, kindly have Mr. Curry read this one. In the morning, my water brothers of the Gitmo Nation. Adam, did you enjoy your care package with amygdala shrinking botanical chocolate from Yes Cacao? Yes, I did very much. I think I ate it all, and I loved it. It was good. It's good stuff. I made it a point to send this pod's audio waves directly into the chocolate production room, thus making it the best chocolate in the universe. And all No Agenda slaves get 11% off with the code ITM at yescacao.com. Yeah, that's how you do it. I also want to remind our responsible listeners with human resources age 14 plus that serial mouth-punching Danny Katz is hosting her one-time only 10-week live virtual class for pop propaganda. It's actually a fun little book she made. I've read it. One of my favorite books for increasing lumens in minds. Plus, Adam, you're on the back cover. That's right. I wrote a blurb. Forget the war in Ukraine. It's fading out anyway. I do believe it's the daily war on words that requires our attention. Check out DannyKatz.com for more word weapons. Don't be a douchebag. Jingle request, shape-shifting Jews. Well, we're going to presume that you are entitled to request that. Is there anything else in the... And is there anything else in the Jingle Cyclopedia with Gene Wilder? He's such a... I don't think we have anything from Gene Wilder, actually. Love is lit. Love is lit. There is no exit. Job bless. Justin Frank Polgar, Minister of Chocolate. I'll give you a little karma as well, brother.
You've got karma.
Anonymous is in from Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, which is actually the name of a town. In the morning to you gents, I choose to remain anonymous mostly to spare you from breaking your jaws when pronouncing my name. Please de-douche me.
You've been de-douched.
Send some goat and yak karma my way. My much love to you both and to the No Agenda Nation.
You've got karma.
And our last... Oh, no, we have two associate executive producers left. I'll do them. Sir Eric from Auburn, Alabama, $200, says, in the morning, citizens, keep up the great show. Sir Eric with the C. And then the last one from Teal Busby, Jackson, is it Missouri? MS?
That's Mississippi, but what about... You got, who'd you just do? Because there's Andrus and Sir Eric. You did both those?
I'm sorry. I missed Andrus. I was so short. Canal Fulton.
Andrea
Vargas. Andrea Vargas, Canal Fulton, Ohio, 208. Simply said, you guys kick ass. And then I'll do the final one. Thank you very much, Andrea. Thank you, Sir Eric. And then Teal Busby. In the morning, thank you, John Adam, for the best podcast in the universe. I've been freely suckling from No Agenda's content teat for too long. Time to step into the community. As I proclaim in the meetup report today, I am being de-douched.
You've been de-douched.
Since my move from the coast to Jackson, I haven't put much effort into making friends in the area, so I want to give a shout out to Sir Foreman and the MS Metro Meetup group. Thank you for dragging me out of the house last Saturday. This is what these meetups are good for. No jingles. Just karma for everybody in Mississippi who was hit by the recent tornadoes. As a resident of the landmass between New Orleans and Mobile, Alabama during Katrina, I've been there. Not only lose your home, but in a sense your entire world is a truly surreal situation that can't be described or imagined unless experienced. No Agenda Nation knows that and shouldn't look solely towards the government at a time like this, which is what it means to turn us on to what we can do. And he actually asked me to put this link into, which I will do, next to his name for a GoFundMe. This is for MS tornado relief. Of course, we will support that for you so people can help and don't just look for the government to help you. Agree 100%. And he says, full disclosure, I'm currently running a political campaign in the Southern District of Mississippi, but have been able to divert 100% of my fundraising efforts from the campaign to tornado relief. After all, love is lit. Thank you for your courage. And thank you very much. And we will give that karma to all of the people who deserve it. Thank you very much, Teal.
You've got karma.
And that will be the conclusion to our associate executive producer and the fabulous executive producers for show 1544, if I'm not mistaken, as we move along.
That is exactly the number. And again, thank you for these executive and associate executive producership donations. Real credits, you can use them anywhere. If you want to become one of these producers, go here.
Dvorak.org/NA.
And thank you all very much for supporting us for episode 1544.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Order. Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
I want to play a couple of dumb clips. Media clips about the Trump indictment. Do you you don't have anything on that, I presume?
I think I have maybe one.
You got an overview clip or something? Or
no, I think that's at least our problems.
Okay, let's see. What do I have an overview? Yeah, here we go. Oh, this is good because it's Jeff Begays. Jeff Begays, always fun to listen to. No, he could just be reading the phone book and I'd listen to Jeff Begays.
With the former president's arrival here in New York, the city is on high alert tonight. Trump Tower, the 58-story building in the heart of one of the world's most famous avenues, is all but surrounded by security barricades, swamped by police and Secret Service.
Police tell us there are no specific or credible threats, but they are prepared for violence. There are about 35,000 police officers in uniform in this city right now, ready to deploy if there are problems.
There may be some rabble-rousers thinking about coming to our city tomorrow. A message is
I'm sorry. I can't listen to this guy without hearing our guy.
Oh, yeah, the mayor. There's a bit at the end where it is totally our guy.
There may be some rabble-rousers thinking about coming to our city tomorrow. A message is clear and simple. Control yourselves.
Investigators from the FBI, NYPD, and Secret Service are combing through social media for any possible plots similar to the January 6th attack. They are seeing calls for violence directed at government officials, including Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg, whose security was recently increased.
We are investigating any threats that may be made to the DA or any of his staff.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams singled out Georgia.
Even Begays is doing it now. New York City mayor. He even said mayor like the mayor.
To the DA or any of his staff.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams singled out Georgia Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is joining a pro-Trump rally near Manhattan Criminal Court tomorrow.
People like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is known to spread misinformation and hate speech. She stated she's coming to town. While you're in town, be on your best behavior.
Yeah, that's a pretty good overview, and as we said, it was mainly social media people and mainstream people. It was just a dumb circus. Couple things of note. I would say most of the print articles had very little on the indictments. It's, you'll hear a few clips. It wasn't really much in there, but the term. Trump was admonished by the judge to refrain from rhetoric that could inflame or cause civil unrest. Every single outlet, Trump was admonished. Where, from what I understand, the judge said that to all parties. But besides that, ABC, and I think there might be some legality to this or illegality, when they aired news reports of Trump speaking at Mar-a-Lago. He's behind, the Trump running for president lectern. They blurred out his text number that you can text for donations or information or whatever that is. Is that not illegal?
You can blur out whatever you want.
But if you do it for one candidate and not for the other?
Well, that's a good question. That may be unfair. But I think those laws are all. There used to be a law against doing something like that. You have to have. There used to be a fairness doctrine, which was repealed in '87. So I think they can do whatever they want. But I watched that entire Mar-a-Lago speech, and it was most of it was shot. It was a shared feed, and you never got to see that thing except maybe for a split second. They couldn't have blurred it out for long.
Well, they blurred it out on social media.
Oh, well.
Or online, or whatever. So here's
chicken shit.
Yeah, of course. I have a couple of clips. These are all basically just with opinions, and we wind up with an interesting one. We'll start with ABC with Jonathan Karl.
We're also learning more about the dynamic in that courtroom after the political rhetoric in the weeks before all of this, the former president taking aim, then the power shift with the former president now a criminal defendant before the judge. Let's bring in ABC's chief Washington correspondent Jonathan Karl live here in New York for our coverage. And John, our team in that room describing a very different dynamic playing out in court today.
David, Donald Trump is accustomed to being the center of attention and in control in whatever room he walks into. That was decidedly not the case today inside that courtroom. As he walked in, Trump looked as profoundly unhappy as I have ever seen him, a deep scowl on his face. He was in the courtroom for 57 minutes, surrounded by his lawyers, police officers standing behind him. He had to wait for about a full 5 minutes before the judge entered the room. And when the judge walked in, Trump had to do what everybody else had to do in that room, stand. It would be the judge calling the shots, not Donald Trump. Our reporter in the room, Olivia Rubin, noticed that Trump spoke so softly that at one point the judge said, "I can't hear you," and asked him to repeat what he was saying. Speaking softly, that's not something we see Donald Trump do ever, if at all. And I suspect, David, that as we go on, he will not be speaking softly for long.
Oh, a riveting report. He had to stand and spoke softly.
Yeah, we have to remember that Karl is the head of the Washington...
the press corps.
The press corps that goes to the White House and tried to shut up that poor African guy.
But, and I didn't see any of this because I was in Austin. I was doing a show with Marty Bent from the TFTC podcast, and I was only listening to stuff on the way back, and I figured out pretty quickly that no one really had anything that showed that Trump the walls are closing in, he's going to jail. None of that, and even on CNN, John Bolton, who is now a CNN correspondent, here's what he said.
Big picture, what do you think of the indictment?
Well, speaking as someone who very strongly does not want Donald Trump to get the Republican presidential nomination, I'm extraordinarily distressed by this document. I think this is even weaker than I feared it would be. And I think it's easily subject to being dismissed or a quick acquittal for Trump. Just speaking, going back to the days when I represented Jim Buckley and Gene McCarthy and the constitutional challenge to the underlying federal statute here passed in 1974, I can say there is no basis in the statutory language to say that Trump's behavior forms either a contribution or an expenditure under federal law, the two key definitions at issue here. If it did, it would mean that every single expenditure a candidate made could be taken to have something to do with his campaign. Do I buy a $1 comb to comb my hair or a $10 comb to comb my hair? If you can construe the statute to cover this behavior, then I think it violates the First Amendment because you're deeply into territory that makes this statute absolutely, the federal statute, too vague for enforcement. And what I understood the district attorney to say that he thinks there's a New York election law involved here. All I can say is the Federal Election Campaign Act absolutely preempts any state or local law to the contrary. How could it be otherwise? You've got one law governing corporate finance in a presidential election at the federal level. You're going to have 50 state laws interfering with it. So he's just wrong on the applicability of the New York statute.
Uh-oh.
A lot of people, I've watched everything. I saw, what's his name, the DA do his little press conference, which was short. And I watched Trump as he went, they showed the plane flying in the air and landing. And the DA made a huge point in his press conference to say that this was about New York law, had nothing to do with federal law. And I think he may have actually said that. And so all these analysts who bring up federal law about to analyze this indictment, I don't know what they had anything. Did they listen to this guy? He made a clear point. This has nothing to do with any federal law the way he sees it.
Well, that's what George Washington University law professor Jonathan Turley said, and he speaks for Fox News, and I did my best to cut out as much of Brett as I could.
Yeah, I've never seen an indictment
before you play the Fox News clip, I will say another thing. I mean, I did a lot of channel swapping, and the analysts that were on the different, and I have a clip from one of the locals, but the analysts that were on these different channels, especially CBS versus Fox, couldn't be, the distance between them is a million miles. It was unbelievable to hear the analysts on CBS versus Fox. I will say that from what I heard from all these different analysts, Fox was the only one that was somewhat objective.
Let me play the local analysis. Is that what I'm playing here?
No, you're going to play. You're going to play your clips. My local analysis is. I got 3-parter, and you can finish up.
Okay, all right. Let me do that.
I've never seen an indictment quite like this one. That is the key linchpin. That's how you get beyond the statute of limitations. I know a lot of judges that would have been not too pleased to receive an indictment like this. Would have said, what the heck is this? I mean, what are you alleging? And Bragg just sort of waved it off and said, I don't have to really say. But my question is, how did the grand jury understand what it was doing? We'll see a little better with the Bill of Particulars, but it really raises concerns as to how well the grand jury understood these key linchpins. Because this thing has a feeling of like a legal Slurpee. It's instantly satisfying, but has no nutritional value. There's really nothing there. The thing is, this is basically what we expected. You had people like Lanny Davis, who represents Michael Cohen, saying, I'm warning you, there's going to be a lot of new crimes here, and there's going to be a lot of new facts. Well, it wasn't. I mean, this was the business falsification theory that we've talked about. The only surprising thing is that Bragg seemed to have solved the question of his authority through ambiguity. He just removed any direct references to what this underlying offense was. And my guess is it's going to be a federal election claim. I mean, the reference to the state election law was so general and ambiguous. I don't think that could be sustain this type of action. It's like that scene in Braveheart when he says, I hope we didn't get dressed up for nothing. I mean, he's hoping that this judge is going to be very timid and not throw this out. But there are substantial threshold legal questions here. And this case could collapse before it gets to a trial. And this is not the only judge that will have to look at this. And I think that has to weigh heavily on him because there's no there. Now, whether he could fill in those gaps, we'll have to see. But you would think if you were going to indict a president, you would rise to that moment of history and tell people with precision what it is that you want to convict him on.
So I think both Turley and Carl and the fart sniffer, what's his name? Bolton, I think all three of them are wrong, and the best analysis did not come from mainstream. It came from Alan Dershowitz, a constitutional lawyer who we have liked when he was a nut job Democrat and a nut job non-Democrat. Sorry?
As I predicted 2 newsletters ago, Dersh would show up.
Oh yeah, he shows it. Well, he had to show up on Charlie Kirk's podcast because he can't buy himself a spot on mainstream because he's like he's a Democrat, so he can't be on Fox, and he defended Trump, so he can't be on any of the left wing media. But I think he has the proper analysis.
I don't think I could get this case dismissed so easily. I don't think that if you had the best lawyers in the history of the world, Abraham Lincoln and John Marshall, a New York City judge would dismiss this case because that New York City judge's life would be over. Everybody would point to him the way they pointed to me when I defended Trump. Yes. Oh, my God, there's the man who helped Trump get free. So I don't think it's going to be easy. I think he probably will be convicted by a New York Manhattan jury who voted for Bragg and voted for Get Trump. It will be reversed on appeal. It will never be affirmed all the way up to the Supreme Court. But Bragg's going to be popular. He'll be reelected, and he'll probably win his case unless there is a change of venue.
I think that's the proper analysis.
I agree 100%.
Oh, you said 100%. Now you're doing it.
100%.
100%. How about your local analysis? We do that now?
Now I have these. I got 3 clips that are kind of interesting, and I think they kind of work together.
Okay.
First of all, this is a local analysis that took place the day before the indictment. Mm-hmm. And so this is the kind of thing, and I got the guy's name. He's a professor, the classic local professor, doesn't, is a Democrat. He's a California professor, so he's, liberal, progressive, wants to dissolve the family and turn us all into communists. But
yeah. Oh, we know the kind, yes.
This guy. And so this is a classic to me, what we were hearing in the Bay Area. And just before he was indicted, before we found out that he didn't have a mugshot, he didn't get handcuffed, none of that. So let's go. This is and I did cut it. So you have the introduction to the guy, then we cut right to one of his comments.
Robert Ovitz, to the 9. He's a political science professor at San Jose State.
The history of our country has been for over 200 years. Presidents have evaded responsibility and accountability. But here I think it's starting to creep up and catch up with President Trump. And we know that the Attorney General is actively investigating all the mountains of evidence that was accumulated in the January 6th investigation last year. And let's hope that it leads to some accountability for President Trump. And if that's the case, he's going to be doing more than doing the perp walk that he's going to do this afternoon in New York.
So he didn't even do the perp walk. And notice this guy doesn't say he's done. He just has mountains and
Classic local yokel.
Yeah.
Now, before I have my last clip, I want to play this intermediate clip, which is actually something we don't normally do on the show, but this is Tucker Carlson reading a tweet, since I thought it would be more entertaining to have him read it. And I think that this is apt. Salvadorian Prexy tweet.
Here is Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele on Twitter today. Quote, "Think what you want about former President Trump and the reasons he's being indicted," Bukele wrote. "But just imagine if this happened in any other country where a government arrested the main opposition candidate. The United States' ability to use, quote, democracy as foreign policy is gone."
Bukele's a big hero, man. He's a big hero amongst the Bitcoiners, that's for sure.
And last, just as like nobody covered this that much, but I just thought this was the funny kind of ancillary commentary about the Trump thing.
I like this.
This is the Stormy Daniels clip.
Meanwhile, Stormy Daniels lost her defamation suit against Trump. Daniels was ordered to pay Trump's attorneys more than $120,000 in legal fees. That's on top of more than $500,000 in court-ordered payments to Trump's attorneys she's already been required to pay. A judge dismissed her defamation lawsuit in 2018. She later lost an appeal and was ordered to pay Trump's legal fees for fighting both. The civil litigation is officially unrelated to Trump's case in New York. Trump denies ever having an affair with her.
Man, I want to hear more Stormy Coke clips. I'm bummed. It was a perfect opportunity.
You guys, I think you have the only one.
There was one. This is a short clip, but Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced he filed his paperwork. He announced his presidency, his run for president as a Democrat.
Yep.
Now, just to put this into perspective, he is a lawyer who has taken a lot of corporations to court, certainly Big Pharma. He is by definition not an anti-vaxxer. He was actually an environmental lawyer, and he fought against mercury in water. That's what he did for years and years and years, and he kept seeing, but this is all his own admission, he kept seeing moms showing up at his speeches, and they said, hey, there's mercury in some of these adjuvants in vaccines, and we think they've caused harm to our children. And so then he became an advocate for getting mercury out of vaccines. Of course, with his deconstruction of COVID, his deconstruction of the vaccine industry, how it works, his book on Anthony Fauci, going back to the Fauci's days of killing gay guys with HIV. I'm just going to say that's what the book says. So, of course, you have to completely discredit Robert F. Kennedy Jr., and let's hear how the tone is set by Jake Tapper at CNN.
This just into CNN. Anti-vaccine quack Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has filed paperwork with the Federal Election Commission to run for president as a Democrat. In launching his presidential bid, Kennedy is the latest in a long line of family members to enter politics. So far, only Marianne Williamson, who last month launched her second long shot campaign, has entered the Democratic primary against Biden. Kennedy is such a healthcare menace. In 2019, even his cousins wrote an op-ed criticizing his anti-science views on life-saving vaccines.
You don't need to know any more than that's what he's going to get. And when you call Robert F. Kennedy Jr. a quack over Marianne Williams, man, they're out to get you.
Oh, they're going to get him.
They're out to get him for sure.
I don't know why they're so afraid of him. I don't think he has much of a chance. But if they're going to play the Trump game and go after him and make it publicize a lot of stuff, he may get some attention.
Oh,
they may be screwing up usual.
As usual. Hey, I see you have it in your list.
Talk. TikTok.
Always interested in what you have for your TikTok from your TikTok collection.
Yeah, this is my TikTok clip of the week. This is a round-headed kid who looks like a very disturbed individual. Mm-hmm. It could be an actor, but I don't think so. He is upset, terribly upset at Apple specifically for having...
Oh, I saw this. You texted me this, I think.
For having the meat emoji. He's a vegan, and he's very upset with Apple for having a meat emoji on its set of emojis. Here we go.
Yes, and those emojis honestly should be illegal. I've been emailing Apple every single day to remove the meat emojis from the iPhones, and they're not doing it. I don't know why they're not doing it. I've been emailing them every single day to stop putting the meat emojis in the phones. Like, it should be illegal. It's offensive to me, and it's triggering to people like me who are vegan. It is so triggering, and I don't know why they don't take them off the iPhone because they're so triggering. They are so triggering.
Talk. TikTok.
And people wonder why all the ad money is going to TikTok. Come on. This is entertainment. I have a TikTok-related clip from Matt Taibbi. Typically, we haven't done much about the Twitter files because it's been a lot of tweets. It's been, Substacks, which don't really lend themselves very well. I mean, we're a clip-driven show. And I picked up this minute and a half of him explaining, which I think is good, how the so-called Tic Tac bill, the Restrict Act, what it is actually doing as it pertains to the information he has gleaned from the Twitter files. And of course, there's new information. New shit has come to light.
We found a whole bunch of communications just recently about, in preparation for a hubbub they were all having at the Aspen Institute in 2021, where they were discussing ideas like the Restrict Act, which is being proposed for, in response to TikTok. There's, I guess, the European Digital Services Act or whatever they call it, that they're thinking about for the EU. All the ideas in both of these bills are sort of wish lists that have been passed around in this community for a long time. The governments want absolute, full and complete access to all data that these platforms provide. And then they want a couple of other things that are really important. They want to have the authority to come in and moderate, or at least be part of the process of moderation. And they also want for people who are called like trusted flaggers. That's how it's described in the European law. They want those folks to have access to these platforms as well. And what they mean by that are these sort of outside quasi-governmental agencies who tell these platforms what they can and cannot print about things like vaccine safety, right? And then we found out more about that, where they're openly talking about censoring true information. So yeah, we're still finding out a lot of stuff about this, and I think there is more to find, unfortunately.
I love the trusted flaggers.
Show title.
I have it written down as such, in fact. There's one other thing that is, well, actually two, but it's cropped up. And if you recall, the first time, I don't know if it was Obama's original election or his re-election, there was a lot of assertions about illegal campaign donations that apparently were made with credit cards, etc., from China, amongst other places. Do you recall this?
Yes, Obama had set up a shop, or somebody did for him, so you could take a lot of small donations, jillions of small donations over his website, and it would appear as if like he had this popular support of jillions of small donors, when in fact it was one or two aggregators that would then break up these massive donations from China and the big pharma and elsewhere and feed it into the system as small donations that didn't need necessarily to be reported.
Correct.
Yeah, I remember it.
So I think this is related. There's a lawsuit going on right now, and Leonardo DiCaprio is involved, and the Fuji. Listen to this from ABC.
This morning, Leonardo DiCaprio, known for his roles like the hard-charging stockbroker in The Wolf of Wall Street.
Something just came across my desk, John. It is perhaps the best thing I've seen in the last 6 months.
Has testified at the money laundering trial of hip-hop artist Pras Michel, founding member of the Fugees, saying they met in the 90s.
Singing my life with his words.
Michelle is accused of funneling millions into the U.S. from a Malaysian businessman named Low Take Joe for political contributions, including for Barack Obama's re-election campaign. Prosecutors claim it was part of a sophisticated political influencing scheme. DiCaprio, called by the prosecution, said he first met Low in 2010, and Low eventually agreed to help finance Wolf of Wall Street.
Seriously, how much money you make? I told you, 70,000.
DiCaprio saying, I was given the green light by my team. He was a legitimate business person wanting to invest in the movie. DiCaprio also testifying Low discussed political contributions to Obama's campaign, saying it was a significant sum, something to the tune of $20 to $30 million. Low is currently a fugitive. Michelle is named as the co-defendant and has pleaded not guilty.
And you know what I find so amazing about this Fugees connection? Do you remember Wyclef Jean, also of the Fugees, who was involved in Haiti and was going to run for president after filing papers? He was in. I mean, what is it with the Fugees and all this corruption?
Well, the corruption, I'm going to bring back this point I made in the beginning of the show, which is go see this 2-part documentary, Sin Eater, The Crimes of Anthony Pellicano. This sort of thing is in the movie.
And there was some other story that we didn't discuss, but I had recently. It was like FBI. Was this the...
Well, while you're looking, I do have the clip I promised from last show that I dug up, which was Rand Paul grilling Anthony Blinken about the papers that they want from the State Department they will not get. This is Rand Paul Blinken final clip.
Well, we don't want your spin on it. We want to look at the documents ourselves.
We're not providing spin. As I said, I believe we can provide the information you're looking for. We have long-standing practices and procedures in terms of actually providing documents and cables with this committee that we're not prepared to change. But in terms of getting you the information you're looking for,
and the only cables we have that are of value, we got leaked to us, or actually they were declassified by the Trump administration. Those cables said, and these were from some State Department folks, and it was amazing. And I don't actually fault anybody for missing it. I'm sure there are thousands of cables, but in 2018 or 17, they were sending cables back saying, holy you know what, they're over here working without gloves in unsafe conditions in a BSL-2 that should be a BSL-4, not a very safe condition. And that's why some of our intelligence people have leaned towards this coming from a lab. Why wouldn't you want to help us? Why wouldn't everybody want to help us?
I've seen those cables. You're right. They've come out, and I think what they said, at least as I read them, was that there were concerns based on State Department officials visiting
but we only know those
because
someone had the gumption to declassify them.
I love that he's trying, man.
Well, you have to admire Rand Paul, but there's something interesting about that clip, which was I was always under the impression that was a BSL-4, never a BSL-2 mishandling the virus.
No.
I was under the impression, based on what we did for 2 years in covering this whole thing, was it was a poorly operated BSL-4.
Yes, yes, correct.
Top grade lab
correct.
In Wuhan.
Correct.
That was just they were just sloppy. But according to the leaked documents, it was not a top rated. It was a secondary rated. Yeah, it was just crummy to begin with.
Huh. Well, that was a lie then, a big one, a big lie. Huh.
Yeah, so we were buffaloed there. That one we missed.
I also, so what was it I have here? That apparently it was, here it is. Where's this from? Let me see what this is from. This is from, Yahoo News, so it's probably AP. Headline, humans may not have spread COVID to Wuhan market as raccoon dogs are not to blame. They're letting the raccoon dogs off the hook.
Yay for the raccoon dog.
All right, let's talk about some conspiracy theories, because I only pulled about a minute and a half of this from NPR. It's a full minutes in total. I think that they're trying to put some of the BIPOC people who were fired from the podcast division into their normal reporting. So, I had to actually cut out silences and stuff because it's, done almost like WION when they took those big, long, quiet pauses. Listen to this.
In the past month, elected officials in the Netherlands and Poland have accused...
By the way, I grew up in the Netherlands. I know who they're talking about. They're talking about a guy I actually know. I've talked with, Thierry Baudet. And he's done some pretty funny TikTok videos, ironically enough, about this topic. But it's not like they make it sound like they're all nut jobs in Holland. A lot of them are, but.
In the past month, elected officials in the Netherlands and Poland have accused their opponents of plotting to force people to eat insects. The idea is also bubbling up in far-right circles in the U.S. NPR's Wojing Nan reports on how a meme from anonymous message boards is making a leap into real-world politics.
If you follow far-right media, the message is plain and simple.
The ruling class really, really wants us to eat bugs.
That's conservative media personality Michael Knowles speaking last year.
By the way, I'm a little upset, NPR, that you didn't put us in with the bug eating, because I think we've been on the forefront of this, on the tip of the bug.
We have jingles.
Come on, we have bug eating jingles that go back years.
Using insects as a source of protein is only at the edges of the policy debate when it comes to cutting climate pollution from agriculture. Scientists focus mainly on reducing meat consumption and eating more plant-based food. Although the idea is marginal, various right-wing media outlets use insect eating as a punchline to mock the climate movement.
You know who won't be eating bugs? Climate change technocrats.
I have some crickets here with me behind me. Oh. What do you think about when you see this and think that the government wants to put this in your food?
Those clips are from Prison Planet and Prager University. Sarah Aniano of Anti-Defamation League traced some of this rhetoric back to 2019 in threads on the anonymous message board 4chan.
It kind of started out and continues to be kind of a meme. So some people might be using it earnestly and some people might be using it ironically.
It started with comments below a photo of climate activist Greta Thunberg.
They say over and over and over again, I will not eat the bugs, I will not eat the bugs.
Then the phrase crossed over to Twitter, first by way of a white nationalist. Then a crypto advocate used it to poke fun at proposals to mitigate climate change. Yet another early propagator of the phrase told NPR he tweeted it only as a joke. Over time, it has fused into a darker conspiracy theory, currently known as the Great Reset.
Oh, okay. So it's all a big conspiracy.
What is this?
Yeah.
What kind of amateurs are they putting in charge of that place? There's nothing new about any of this stuff, and it's accurate.
It's from 4chan. It's a conspiracy. The Great Reset is a conspiracy. None of it's true. It's not true. Come on. We've had the I like bugs thing for years. And now, But you want to know what a real Great Reset is? This is the Great Reset. Here's what's really happening. Everything's going to be Great Reset this summer.
Travelers this summer could be in for a bumpy ride.
I think it's going to be a troublesome summer.
In a letter to airlines, the Federal Aviation Administration, citing a severe lack of air traffic controllers, could cause serious delays and cancellations. The agency predicting delays to skyrocket, up an estimated 45% in New York City alone.
Our goal is to make sure that we're proactive and where we can be, to be as predictive as we can be to make sure that our demand matches up.
Impacted airports include New York's JFK, LaGuardia and Newark, and DC's Reagan National. Last year, New York area airports saw around 41,000 flight delays, according to the FAA. The agency is now pleading with airlines to cut back on service, asking for an up to 10% reduction in flights for this summer season.
The likelihood of ground delays will decrease, and that will help them maintain their schedules, and that airplanes that fly around the country throughout the day, they will be on time more often.
To avoid traffic jams as travel returns to pre-pandemic levels and the summer surge commences. Both United and Delta Airlines considering the offer. So is NYC-based JetBlue. Its CEO telling CNBC, "We don't want to pull down flights, but if we don't cut them, the system is not going to be workable this summer. Experts say, act now."
So for those folks who have not yet booked their summer travel plans, do so immediately.
And be flexible with your summer plans.
So rather than setting your heart on New York City, maybe this is a sort of the universe telling you, could be a good summer to go visit Chicago.
Yeah.
Could be a good summer to go visit the Rockies.
Go visit Chicago.
Brother. That smoother travel is just on the horizon.
Yeah, there you go. They have no pilots, people. That's what's going on.
Well, there's that, too, and also it sounded like a native ad for visiting Chicago. If these airports are so, want you to cut back, you can't do that. It should be across the board. Everybody should be cut back 10%. They can close the slots. They can't just volunteer and then one airline has to take a beating in their earnings and their total revenue. That's bull crap.
Those are the ones that are in the most trouble. That's why it's trying to get them out of trouble. We're screwed with. That's why you got to. I'm back to flying myself.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid.
There we go.
I flew to New York, and it was like for years. It was always. Sorry, we have to circle around for the next half hour.
Yeah, I remember circling, yes.
Yeah, you circle and circle and circle, and you finally land like an hour late.
Mm-hmm.
So what's new?
I want to remind NPR that, your own celebrities have been teaching us how to eat bugs. Remember Nicole Kidman?
I'm Nicole Kidman, and I am going to eat a 4-course meal of bugs. I am here to
just
reveal my
conspiracy
hidden
theory.
talent, eating micro livestock, cornworms.
Yeah, okay. And then remember the jingle. How old is this jingle?
I love bugs!
This is another example of NPR falling down on the job. They really stink. I'm going to remind people, don't give them your money. Give us the money you would give them.
Yes. Yes, I agree. And then on the Great Reset taking place in France, who I believe have now broken into and taken possession of the BlackRock headquarters in Paris. That's pensioners, okay? That's people who are 62 or 61 and they're ready to retire and they don't want to wait 3 more years. Oh yeah, that's who the people are. Here's an NPR clip. What do you think this is about, NPR?
Residents in Paris have voted overwhelmingly to ban electric scooters in the city. The 15,000 scooters will be removed from the streets after their contract ends in August. The scooters are popular with tourists and people who don't want to drive or ride the subway, but they're also seen as a traffic hazard.
No, the French want your crap gone. Get it out of here, you stupid scooters. Get rid of them. The French are good.
Well, at least they stand up to things. I mean, that's a good those things should be gone.
Yes.
Who needs those things flying around Paris? It's bad enough to drive around there.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab.
Yeah, on No Agenda.
And we do have a few people to thank for show 1544. And if I have, starting off with Bruce Schwalm. The Schwalm family in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania comes in with $133.88. Xavier Vasquez in San Diego, 12345. New Hampshire Meetup comes in with 115. And they sent us a couple big photos. Did you get these things?
I did. The beautiful photos of you and myself. They look AI generated.
There's a question for each one.
Oh, what's the question?
Well, at least I have I have a question. John, how come the Democrats always, why is Minnesota, Minneapolis, a Democratic stronghold? Why is it a strong? The same way, the reason is in California, because they found a way to rig the elections. Andreas Zavalos is next on the list. He's in Denison, Texas, $100. John Robinet, $100. Kevin McAtee in Centennial, Colorado, $100. Jeffrey Dykstra in Sparta, Ontario, Canada, $100. Got it back from the taxman in Canada. Ron Chambliss in Attica, Indiana, $100. John Siebert in Auburn, California, $100.
Can I just say one thing about this particular donation? This is a numerological donation. 33,371 Satoshis. So that's a 333 and 71 for your birthday.
Yeah, it's cute. How it came up to exactly 100 is amazing.
Yeah, I know.
Kerry Jackson in Watertown, Tennessee, 100. Baron Anonymous Cop in San Carlos, California. Our buddy, 9933. He's the one who had Etsy.com, Bootleg Coins CA. Bootleg Coins CA, okay. That's where he's got all his patches and stuff, I think, for sale. Sir Loud Pipes in Charlotte, North Carolina, 8047. T. Lance Sisney in Bastrop, Texas, 8008. And he says there's a show error.
About
take a look at that.
SB 560. Yeah, I've been going back and forth with him.
Okay, Anonymous in Mount Airy, Maryland, 8008. And
there he is.
Kevin McLaughlin, Sir Kevin in Locust, North Carolina, 8008. Matthew Snyder in San Francisco, also 8008. And to round it off with even one more, Daniel Nevada in Parts Unknown, 8008. Bradford Ramsey in Wichita Falls, Texas, 75. Wayne Cartini in Torrington, Connecticut, 7421. Sir Rainman in Canyon, Texas, 72. Christian with a happy birthday. Christian Sutton Jensen in Marinette, Wisconsin, 7199 with another happy birthday. And these all following is all going to be happy birthdays, at least for some time here. Dame Becky, Katy, Texas, 7171. Adam Provencher in Toronto, Ontario, 7169. Harvey Smith, North Weymouth, Massachusetts, 7166. And now the following people all donated $71 even, which was the birthday donation to celebrate my 71 years doing the podcast.
Feels like it.
Starting with John Kumar in London, UK. Christy Digez in Vestavia Hills, Alabama. Scott Riley in Meridian, Idaho. Megan Loro in Huntington Beach, California. Baron Robb in Leiden, Holland. Jordan Olson in Bellevue, Nebraska. Daryl Hansen in New Zealand. Michael Graham in Gilbert, Arizona. Consul Francis Lambert, Inc. Oh, I don't know what that is, but maybe it's a law firm in Montreal, Quebec. Kirk, Barnett in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Walter Hilbeck in Essen, Deutschland. Casey Gray in Grand Prairie, Texas. Rick Jansen in Round Rock, Texas. Health karma for everyone around. Christopher O'Rourke in Oak Lawn, Illinois. Marcella Barden in Monday, Texas. He needs a de-douching, or she needs a de-douching.
Oops, sorry. That's the wrong one.
That too.
Why did I have that? Hold on.
You've been de-douched.
James Agee in Umatilla, Florida. Colin Pettit in Fairfield, Iowa. Laura Rankin in Austin, Texas. Max Boyd in Edmond, Oklahoma. Joseph Hawkins in Jonesboro, Illinois. Christopher Baker in Dallas. David Hominy in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. L. Speck in Haarlem, Holland. And he said, wait a minute, what is this? He had a bottle of birthday with a bottle of Screaming Eagle? Yeah, I don't think so. I wish. Sarah Steinlen in Brentwood, Tennessee. Sir William in Bainbridge Island, Washington. Michael Burke in Kalamazoo, Michigan. What do you think that says?
I'm doing something
Stay
else.
34M Monk, whatever. Huntington Beach. Christopher Gray in Covington, Louisiana. Sir Rody Joe
Sir
in Odenton.
Stream Monk. Steam Monk, ST34M.
Steam Monk. Okay, that's what it is. Good. I would have a resident hacksaw expert. Sir Rody Joe in Odenton, Maryland. Sir Beeboop in New Brighton, Minnesota. Sir Daddy Cast in Mechanicsville, Virginia. He's Baron of the Center of the Universe. William Kidwell in Dover, Delaware. Craig Porter in Carlsbad. Brandon Logan in Athens. Gorgana Yankova in the UK. Mark Stokesbury in Centennial, Colorado. Chris Kinney in Allen, Texas. Another Kinney donation from the family. It was all those birthdays lined up. David Fugazotto in Gladstone, Missouri. John Munchink in Bastrop, Texas. Jill Presnell in Wichita, Kansas. Blair Williams in Austin, Texas. Derek Chanel in Watkins, Minnesota. Scott Walker in Flushing, New York. Joe Kellogg in Bethany, Illinois. James Fitzgerald in Palmer Lake, Colorado. Timothy Brashears in Cookeville, Tennessee. Jan Leclerc in Lawrenceweiler, Luxembourg. Thank you very much, from Luxembourg. With birthdays for him. Him. Lester Tarkowski in Kingman, Arizona. Daniel Martin in Harrisonburg, Virginia. Russ Curry in Rego Park, New York. Mike McCoy in Schaumburg, Illinois. Gabriel Adams in Blackfoot, Idaho. Birthdays there, too. Michael Riopel in Eddystone, Pennsylvania. Jody McGonigal in Bidford, Maine. William Jarvis in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. Who needs a de-douching?
You've been de-douched.
John Alberini in Forestville, California. Nice area. John Doyle in Mount Pleasant, Wisconsin. Shrivnas Murdy, our Brahmin in Culpeper, Virginia. Kevin McLaughlin's back with 71. Thank you, Kevin. That's nice. John Landron in Clancy, Montana. Richard Robinson in Spring, Texas. And I don't know what he has. James Green in Elfland, North Carolina. Efland. E-F-L-A-N-D. Rita Harrington in Sparks, Nevada. Christopher Hayden in Lincoln, Nebraska. Dan Stone in San Francisco. Sarah Gardner in Wilmington, North Carolina. Jody Codicini in Austin, Texas. Baroness Monica in Drayton Valley, Alberta, where the money used to be. Jay Schweikert in Wichita, Kansas. Dame Meowdison in Altamont Springs, Florida. Sir Austin in Sammamish, Washington. Daniel Parks in Lakeville, Minnesota. Nuts. Daniel, plain old Daniel from Parts Unknown. All of these are Bitcoins, and so is Chad F. And Ben Blessing ends it. Well, actually, it ends with Chad F. That's all our well-wishers. I want to thank each and every one of them for saying happy birthday to me. That's very appreciated. It's great. And then we start with the rest of these with Ben Blessing and Lubbock, 6230. Brian Furley, 5110. Tom Dari, 5510. I'm sorry, Furley was 5510 too. Troy Funderburk, 55. And then 5280 from Michael Gates, Chef's Catch in Beauty Point, Australian, Tasmania, 5150. Bob Butler in Cumming, Georgia, 5069. And the following people, as we wrap it up, are $50 donors, name and location. Anna Drake, the top of the list, in Whitestown, Indiana. James Sharametta in Napanock. Kurt Patrick, Nanaimo, Victoria Island, BC. Jacob Martinez in El Monte, California. Charles Peterson in Albuquerque, New Mexico, along with his wife, Tracy.
And he wants her to get the credit and a de-douching?
You've been de-douched.
No, why would she want the credit when she has her own donation right under his?
Well, if you read the note, he says he donated $50 for both, but he wanted her to get everything.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's a $100 donation from Tracy Peterson then.
There you go.
Danielle First in Kaukauna, Wisconsin. Villarreal. Alex Zavala in Kyle, Texas. Michael Labar in Williamston, Michigan. Philip Kuzmanovsky in Austin. Jonathan Ferris in Liberal, Kansas. Ryan Tiernan in North Providence, Rhode Island. Matthew Smith in Colchester, UK. Paul Terranova in Webster, Massachusetts. Jason DeLuzio, Sir Jason in Miami Beach. Brian Watson, Sir Brian in Raleigh, North Carolina. And last on the list, Anonymous in Minnesota.
Woo! How about that? People love you.
There you go.
You're a chick
now
magnet.
You're talking.
People love you. People love you.
Chick magnet.
You are. Of course, thanks to everyone else who came in under $50 for reasons of anonymity, or you are on one of those sustaining donations, which are very important to us. Two quick make goods. We finally got the note from Baron West, who donated on the previous show. Something went wrong with the email. It was $333. And he says, your analysis in the last episode about COVID school situation, the screen autism, trans shooter medicated children, and the replacement of Black Lives Matter was fantastic. That is why I keep listening. I've already sent it to some friends. And thank you to Dreb Scott's chapters. Dreb Scott, executive producer today, and Archduke. It really makes sharing easy. Thank you also for the hard work you both put into the show. It's of great value to me. Baron West of the Balderdash Beer, Bourbon, and Balderdash podcast. And our producer who donated $1,000 became executive producer of episode 1539. He has requested that his knighthood go to Tanta Neal as No Agenda artist Tanta Neal, and she become an official No Agenda dame. And we will make that happen today.
That's nice.
It's very nice. And we thank everybody for supporting the show, for making John feel the chick magnet that he is, and for keeping No Agenda on the rails. We appreciate it. To become a producer, go here.
Dvorak.org/NA.
A little bit of karma since it was requested here and there.
You've got karma.
And we do have some of those birthdays, quite a list actually. We've got Sir Thomas McKean celebrated on the 2nd. Sven Gronholm turned 41 yesterday and says happy birthday to her daughter, Ela, who turned 16, niece Leona turning 5, and best friend's daughter, Elle, turning 3, all yesterday. Harvey Smith celebrated yesterday. Gabriel Adams wishes a happy birthday to his chickens. 8, one apparently named Adam C., one named John C. Dame Becky and Sir Mike say happy birthday to Chris Keeney, turning 47 today. Dame Courtney, Scarlet B, and Gitmo Female Region number 5 with Chicago. Kate, a happy birthday. She's not a serial killer, but it's her birthday today. Jan Leclerc celebrating at the 10th. Rob, happy birthday with Smoking Hot wife Jade. She turns 30. And Sir Podfather is turning 75. Happy birthday from everybody here at the best podcast in the universe. And we have, there it is.
Title changes, turn and face the slave. That's changes. Don't wanna be a douchebag.
No. He's no douchebag. He does a lot for the show. We're talking about Dred Scott. He already was a Duke. He does the chapters for every single episode. He's a huge proponent of Podcasting 2.0. Appreciate everything you do. We know him as the Bruce Wayne of Podcasting 2.0. Today, Archduke Dred Scott is now, or Duke Dred Scott becomes the Archduke Dred Scott of the Southern California mega region. And we thank you for all that you do, good sir. And we have one dame and one knight to do today. It was nice. We can have all of that. Oh, there was a birthday blade. Up on the podium. Ladies first, Tanta Neil, you're up. And Larry, welcome both of you to the round table. And I'm very proud to pronounce the as Dame Tanta Neil, unless you want something else. And Sir Up. Now, Knight and Dame of the No Agenda Round Table for you. We've got the regular fare, no special requests, but of course you want hookers and blow, Rent Boys and Chardonnay, cookies and vodka. We got taquitos and tequila, fish pie and fellatio. We've got redheads and rye, beers and blunts, Rubenesque and rosé, geisha and sake, vodka vanilla, bong hits and bourbon, sparkling cider and escorts, ginger ale and gerbils, breast milk and pablum. Maybe you just want some mutton and mead. It's a favorite. Everybody loves it here. Go to noagendarings.com. Anybody can go there, take a look at those handsome rings that you get as a knight or a dame of the round table. And, of course, if both are newly minted dame and sir, if they would give us their ring size and address, we'll get those off to you as soon as possible. Thank you for supporting the No Agenda Show, best podcast in the universe. We got one meetup from it's a Mississippi meetup report, actually.
In the morning, John and Adam. This is our Mississippi FEMA Region 4 meetup. This is Tony.
And Kendra.
This is our third meetup, and I just want you guys to know that I'm working on an AI application, and this is what it's going to do. It's going to find the perfect weed eater for John, and then I'm going to send it to him so he can verify if it's working or not.
This is Sir Foreman. Another good meetup in the books. Thank you for your courage.
In the morning, this is Teal. First time meetup. Love you guys. Today I'm being douched.
In the morning, this is Bella. I'm here because Daryl needed a designated driver.
Hey guys, can't wait to see you in Nashville, Adam. This is Daryl DeVille, future knight in abeyance, and they saying that all hell is going to break loose and you're going to need a Bitcoin.
I don't know if we deduced that meetup at participation there, just in case.
You've been de-douched.
I think we did. Was so far ago, earlier in the show. Saturday, there is a meetup in Portland, Oregon. Dick's Primal Burger. It is Portland's second Saturday Slave Soiree, 6 o'clock. Make sure you catch that. Coming up, I mean, for April, we have Bellevue, New Paltz, New York, Houston, Texas, Mobile, Alabama, Kernersville, North Carolina, Toms River, New Jersey, Mainz, Germany, Cincinnati, Ohio, Star, Idaho, Riverside, California, Crown Point, Indiana, Zurich, Switzerland, Westfield, Indiana, Madison, Tennessee, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Charlotte, North Carolina, Roanoke, Virginia, Nantucket, Massachusetts, Nantucket, nice. Wonder how many people are there. Kaatsheuvel, North Brabant, the Netherlands, Budapest, and Hungary. Are we nationwide and worldwide and badass? Yes, we are. San Antonio, Texas, Camp Hill, Pennsylvania, Iowa City, Iowa, Salt Lake City, Utah, Toronto, Ontario, Scandinavia, Camarillo, California, Hooksett, New Hampshire, Garner, North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, Longview, Texas, Toronto, Canada. I mean, there is so much so many meetups to go to. You have no excuse, but above all, you will like this community. You will meet people there that will become friends. You might even meet a future knight or dame for yourself. No Agenda Meetups. Go to noagendameetups.com, regardless of where it is.
Sometimes you want to go hang out with all the knights and dames. You want to be where you won't be triggered or held to blame. You want to be where everybody feels the same.
Regardless of where it is, it's always like a party. It's like a party. That's what I wanted to say. Crashed into it. Whew! Let me see. Oh yeah. Well, we're over time, man. Over time. Reclaiming my time.
Okay, we got some ISOs to do.
Yeah, hold on a second. Let me get rid of all this. Let me see where I am. Okay. Where are your ISOs? I see them here. What you got?
Let's start with threat.
Catastrophic threat to humanity.
Okay, I'm liking that one. It's okay.
Triggering.
so triggering.
That's from your meat emoji kid. Yeah, pretty good. These are good ones, John.
And then your favorite smart point.
It's such a smart point.
No, it's not my favorite at all. So far, I like what I like the most is what's that threat? Let me hear that again.
Catastrophic threat to humanity.
I like that one. Let me see what I have. I have.
I've got some very serious concerns about this.
Little long. I've got
rabble rousers.
Got some rabble rousers. I got this one.
Evil people.
And maybe this will be the winner.
Quack, quack, quack.
I thought that was reasonably good. The Jake Tapper quack.
It's cute.
I
but
put
is
some
it
work
disparaging? I'd rather have the threat to humanity.
Threat to humanity? I'm okay with threat to humanity. And I think, do you have one more clip you want to go? Because we're
I think we can conclude these clips can go to the next show.
I think you're right. You're absolutely right. Here's what's coming up next on noagendastream.com. If you're still in one of those swanky new podcast apps, we've got Angry Tech News with Sir Ryan Bemrose. Broken Value is the title of this one. No idea what that's about. And end of show mixes. We have just a couple here. Let me bring them up. We've got what do we have? We got Maddie J, and we have, hold on, I have it here. The other one was Secret Agent Paul. Classic Secret Agent Paul.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Yeah, the guy is just dynamite. The guy is so good. And coming to you from the heart of the Texas Hill Country, here in FEMA Region number 6. Happy birthday, John, and in the morning, I'm Adam Curry.
Yes, and from northern Silicon Valley, where I appreciate the birthday greetings, and I'm still wondering about my zip code being important. I'm John C. Dvorak.
We return on Sunday right here on No Agenda. Please remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. Until then, enjoy your meetups. Adios, mofos, a hooey hooey, and such.
My name is Joe Biden. I'm Dr. Joe Biden's husband.
Swear to God, he's
and I ate Jenny's ice cream, chocolate chip.
chocolate chip ice cream.
Chocolate chip.
Can Joe Biden eat ice cream? Well, some people think that's all I do is eat ice cream.
I came down because I heard there was chocolate chip ice cream.
I love ice cream, always have. Chocolate chip.
Not a joke. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. Chocolate chip. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
You've been with your mother. I can smell ice cream.
So what? I have a whole refrigerator full upstairs. Chocolate chip. I got a commercial license.
Chocolate chip ice cream.
I've got a United States Senator driving my truck.
Yeah, they probably had hot dog ice cream parties.
Donald Trump thinks healthcare is a privilege. Barack and I think it's a right for people to have bad health care.
Remember when we said he was old? Come on, man. Don't say you weren't told. Shine on, you crazy Biden.
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
Now there's a look in Kamala's eyes. She's got her eye on the prize. Shine on, you crazy Biden.
Excuse me, I gotta get this right.
You were born by charisma. You trusted me, Herbert. Election steals are a breeze. Come on, you racist. You puppet of China. Come on, you pedo with some domination and shine.
And I also am told that Chuck Graham, state senator, is here. Chuck, stand up. Chuck, let me see you. Oh, God love you. What am I talking about? I tell you what, you're making everybody else stand up, though, pal. Thank you very, very much. I tell you what, stand up for Chuck.
He doesn't know where he is.
And what am I doing here?
Is it real or showbiz? Shine on, you crazy takes your place. Shine on, you crazy bylighter, and we'll bask in your ruin. You're mortified moron, bought by the Chinese. Come on, you bosses, you creepy old loser. Come on, you said I'm delusional douchebag and shine.
Although she's wait, your mom's still alive as your dad passed. God bless her soul. I gotta get this straight. I was on the phone for 2 straight hours with Xi Jinping. But, we don't get moving, they're gonna eat our lunch. China is going to eat our lunch? Come on, man. Thank you all for welcoming us.
It's a war on man. Hallelujah, war on man. Amen. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna jump for joy. I don't need no toxic man. I need a soy boy. It's the war on man. The best podcast in the universe.
Mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Catastrophic threat to humanity.